doing this as a live stream because I'm super lazy and I'm just talking to the audience right now. Yeah, we're going over the Libertarian Party platform. This is some good Schadenfreude. You know, don't want to isolate. You know, my who am I kidding? I don't care about isolating anybody. Yeah, this is solid memes. Let's look over some of them. We're having fun talking about how ridiculous libertarians are. And do I have the? I mean, no one's gonna pop onto chat, so I won't bother putting that thing up there. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. All right, the issues thing's here. So we're gonna play guess the issues. We've already looked at criminal justice reform and environment. This one actually wasn't terrible. It was just stupid. They got trains in the background. Oh shit. Oh, this was a good meme. Social Security, where she makes it an opt-out thing, so you can just have the government take 6% of your money for like no fucking reason. I guess I could look into the solution, but the fact that it's an opt-out is incredible. We made fun of that already. Why would you have an opt-out? The whole point of Social Security was like, hey man, we have all these people who can't save money, so we're just gonna have a government program that like makes everyone save money, and then everyone gets a check like when they're at retirement age. That way, like these people aren't homeless. Also leaves out that the politicians who, you know, tapped into Social Security for IOUs, like this was literally Reagan who did this. This is like Reagan is like famously known for, is just like running deficits and using Social Security to pay for like stupid shit. So that was really fun. Where's the back button?
All right.
All right.
You didn't go too far.
No. I recapped some of the fun ones we went over already. All right, let's do. Oh fuck! Do I do healthcare? Healthcare will be a fun one, I think.
Healthcare is guaranteed. To be good.
Okay? Let's do predictions here. I think she's gonna mention the Gary Johnson. Like, I want there to be a Broken Legs Are Us at every street corner. You know, right next to the McDonald's. Do it for 200 a pop.
I'm gonna play it safe, honestly, which I know is boring, but I guarantee she's probably gonna say something along the lines of people should have a right to choose their healthcare.
Yeah, I mean,
be really boring with it, but I don't know. I think there's gonna be good news here.
All right. Republicans and Democratic policies over the past 50 years are the reason healthcare has become so expensive. Their latest proposals to fix healthcare will further micromanage your doctors and restrict your access to care while failing to solve the underlying problems.
What's the underlying problem, Joe?
Let's find out. They differ only on whether this should be done by private insurance companies or government bureaucrats. This is the exact opposite of what needs to be done. We can reduce the cost of healthcare by 75% by allowing real price competition and by substantially reducing government and insurance company paperwork. This will make healthcare affordable for most Americans while also reducing the cost of legacy programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and the VA. That's an interesting one. I'm pretty sure Medicare has like a... Oh man, Destiny made fun of this recently, but... I'm pretty sure that their cost, like the numbers on Medicare having a low cost, very low administrative cost, isn't necessarily true, and that all goes right to whatever, because like some of their admin costs are spread out through other programs. Whatever,
sure,
that's irrelevant. Let's make fun of some of the other good stuff. We'll reduce the cost by 75%, and you know what? Know why they'll do that? Because like when you ask for Advil, you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get fucking water pills. That's what you're gonna get. It's straight sugar pills. They're not gonna have any actual Advil because there's no regulations on your hospital.
Or even better yet, what they're gonna do is they're gonna say, oh, there's nothing actually really that wrong with you, and they're just gonna give you like a nice little band-aid and send you on your way. And so you don't have to spend any money because you didn't get anything done.
Or they'll tell you like, oh, we actually have to like remove this clot. We have to push you down. We got to like remove this thing, and then like you wake up like in a bucket of ice like without your kidneys anymore, and you have like 30 minutes to live, like some sort of Saw type scenario. It'll be great. They're just like, oh, we'll tell them they have this one ailment, and then we'll actually just steal their kidney without telling them, and then just sell it to like our billionaire donor or something. It'll be fantastic. Can I just
say how amazing it is? I see this a lot with people who like self-proclaimed libertarians and just people on the right in general, where they will make accurate statements. The U.S. spends more on healthcare than any other high-income country, yet has the lowest life expectancy, which is true.
Wait, did they say that?
Then, the next line down right after the red bit, but instead of looking at what the other countries do better, which is usually some sort of really strong social safety net, they're all like, so what we need is more competition in the medical field. What we need is What we need is more capitalism, not less.
I really like how like we're like, hey, like the libertarian position is really really great to me because it's like it's so wide-eyed and doughy. And I know like as a socialist, right, I get made fun of like, listen, man, like you're really like you know, you just believe that too many good things are possible. You know, it's just not realistic that we can do these things that evidence supports that we can do. You know, and then meanwhile, I have like libertarians who are honorably like, listen, I know that every other modern country on earth has a universal healthcare system to one degree or another, but what we need to do, I believe that we could revolutionize this whole system, and we can move to a completely free market thing that's never really been done in modern history, even though we have all these other systems that work relatively well. And the mere price is that we euthanize 20% of our population a year. the small price of all the homeless people in LA getting thrown into a meat grinder to feed your children at our.
I was thinking after the libertarian and conservative reaction to COVID that it would have been like the old people, where they're like, look, old people are gonna die anyway. Let's just put them in some boxes, and then we'll have all this room in hospitals. It'll be fine. It'll all work itself out in the end.
Yeah, what we can do is then we can put those boxes into furnaces, and we'll heat the nursing homes so that like the living old people are no longer poor. That's just efficiency right there. And I like this part. This is her like I don't know if you remember. This is in like the 2008 I think or 2012 thing when Ron Paul was running for president. And they pressed him on like, well, what happens to the people who don't have insurance? And he's just like, well, they die.
What? No, I don't remember that.
Let me see, like Ron Paul on people who can't afford healthcare. Let me see if I can find it. Should society let uninsured die?
Oh no.
You know that the answer being 2 minutes long, that there's no way in hell this goes well for him.
Oh no.
A healthy 30-year-old young man has a good job, makes a good living, but decides, you know what, I'm not going to spend $200 or $300 a month for health insurance because I'm healthy, I don't need it. But, you know, something terrible happens, all of a sudden he needs it. Who's going to pay for it if he goes into a coma, for example? Who pays for that?
In a society that...
Watch this grade A worming he tries to do. Did Wolf Blitzer used to have his son?
Socialism, he expects the government to take care of
What do you want?
But what he should do is whatever he wants to do and assume responsibility for himself. My advice to him would have a major medical policy, but not before...
But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it, and he needs intensive care for 6 months. Who pays?
That's what freedom is all about, taking your own risk. This
freedom to die, baby.
Listen to these ghouls like applauding this. Like you can all fucking die and it'll be fine. You got cancer, you weren't expecting. It's gonna cost $2 million. Well, time for you to fucking die.
I'm sorry you got fucking T-boned by a drunk driver. You gotta die now.
The drunk driver was also poor. How could you have known? You should have had a private helicopter land on the roof of your house and then like transport you to the local mall where you have like your chauffeurs like bring you clothes to try on the safety of a rooftop where you get served margaritas from like a poor Peruvian immigrant.
Weasels in the audience. Everybody's smiling. You can tell they're like, yeah.
They're like, the poorest get to die. Like, you know, every single one of these people is worth over $1 million. Like,
look at how excited that guy in the hat is. He's just, I know it's on, it's
where's the hat guy? Oh, him?
Are you saying society should just let him die?
Yes.
That is some aggressive clapping. Oh, if I remember, this gets better. It's been so long since I watched this.
It gets better? Oh.
No.
Like, Wolf Blitzer, like, I guess his brain melted or something, but, like, this is solid, like, follow-up. Like, keep in mind, the progress of this was him being asked a question, and then, like, what will you do if they don't have insurance and they run into this bad spot? And he's like, well, they should get insurance preemptively. And he goes, the question was, if they don't have insurance.
They don't have insurance.
Yeah, the point was, if they don't have it, what do you do? And he actually re-asked the question. Incredible.
Are you saying the society should just let him die?
No. I practiced medicine before we had Medicaid.
Help people.
Okay, pause it real quick. We can go back a little bit. If the people who are cheering for you, their answer to the question is, should we just let him die? And they feel comfortable enough to scream out, yeah! Like they're at a fucking rock concert. You are not the good guy.
I like how like you being able to die because you can't afford healthcare, and like their response to that is like, yeah, like that's the type of freedom, because it was framed through the lens of freedom,
brother.
Yeah. That's the freedom I want. The freedom to die surrounded by a bunch of nameless drones who throw me right into the incinerator.
This is why, in this regard, libertarians are so fucking they're so fucking brain dead. Is because they just hear the word freedom and they just get rocked fucking hard. And they just
that's all I needed, partner.
You said freedom, brother. You got me.
If you only have the freedom to live under a fascist state and have no autonomy, they'd be like, well, you had me at freedom, and I don't know what came after that, but it must have been good. Because
you said a lot of big words after that, but yeah, I'm on board.
I like how these people got a stereotypical Texan accent. All right, let's see. Let's see Ron Paul's legendary recovery on this one.
All right, I hate to. I can do like a
let
list next time to make it less stereotypical. But go ahead.
No, it's fine. We can make fun of Texans. I talked to like a secessionist like a while back. I got invited into like one of their discords, and they're like, "We just love freedom, and like we want Texas to be its own Texas." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I love freedom too." Like I didn't mention the whole like libertarian socialist thing, but I was like, yeah, freedom is great. And they're like, well, what do you think about trans people? And I was like, yeah, the freedom to be trans. Like, I don't care what they do. They're like fucking degenerate. And I got banned immediately. I'm like, what kind of freedom did they envision? Like, their freedom to discriminate recklessly? Like,
I don't understand. That's the thing, is like their definition of freedom is fundamentally different than yours and mine. They don't actually care about freedom. They care about the aesthetics of freedom. It's the flag, it's guns, it's God, it's that. That's what they.
You have the freedom to not burn the American flag. That's the freedom you have.
You have the freedom to be exactly like everybody else in this country.
You have all these freedoms to do specifically what I tell you, when I tell you, and never do things that upset me or make me feel bad, like kneel for the Pledge of Allegiance. But you can undermine a democratic process if it helps you out.
All right, roll the tape.
No, I practiced medicine before we had Medicaid in the early 1960s.
I'm thinking
when I got out of
charity.
medical school. I practiced at Santa Rosa Hospital in San Antonio, and the churches took care of them.
Oh,
we never turned anybody away from the hospital. And we've given up on this whole concept that we might take care of ourselves, assume responsibility for ourselves, our neighbors, our friends, our churches would do it. This whole idea, that's the reason the cost is so high. The cost is so high because they dump it on the government, becomes a bureaucracy, it becomes special interest, it kowtows to the insurance companies and the drug companies. Then on top of that, you have the inflation. The inflation devalues the dollar. We have lack of competition. There's no competition in medicine. Everybody's protected by licensing. We should actually legalize alternative health care, allow people to practice what they want.
I guess there is more to that, but like I knew that I didn't remember the clip specifically, so it might seem like I cheated when I said like the charity thing's totally coming. He goes, "We didn't just let people die." It's like, well, you're saying that charity, but like let's say I don't know, you're a gay person in Arkansas, and you go to the doctor with like I don't know, like AIDS or something, and they're like, "Well, no treatment for you." Well, I guess it's a bad example. That's probably very stereotypical and rude. I don't know, but like you have a lisp, and that's how they know that.
That fucking happens to people who like. It happens to gay people. It happens to trans people in areas where that kind of shit is allowed. They fucking do it. That's what's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like you may not say, well, they can just die, but the problem, and he knows this. I think that's the worst part. When I look at him, he understands that the result of what he's advocating for is, well, they can just die.
Yeah,
but
and he's like tap dancing around it like 150%.
Yeah, it's oh man. That was good though. That was good for the memes.
Shot,
the audience was absolutely the best part of that though.
They can just die. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to read the prolonged bullshit, so I'm mainly just doing the top level.
No, it's good. It's good.
Let's see. I feel like this one won't be fun. Education.
It's bottom left.
Bottom left. Education. Let's see. I mean, we know it's going to be voucher programs. That's my prediction.
It's going to be voucher, yeah.
Has failed in the 40 years since the Department of Education was created.
Wait. I just got to stop at the first fucking sentence. The Department of Education has failed. Joe, why has it failed? It has not failed because, like, a guaranteed education for everybody is a fundamentally flawed concept. It's failed because of brainlets like you have continually defunded education and then said, why isn't education working? It's not... This is oh my god!
it's like well, our government doesn't work. Elect me, and I'll just show you exactly how it can't work. And like that's literally what they do every fucking time.
It's
like the Betsy DeVos in charge of the Department of Education is literally all you need to know.
Yeah, it's fucking. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep reading.
Government spending on education has skyrocketed while the quality of education has declined. Students used to be able to work their way through college and graduate debt-free. As president, I will work to eliminate the Department of Education and return control of education to where it belongs, with parents, teachers, and students. Yeah, that's a good one. You can go. I came from like an area that had a large Hasidic Jewish population. I'm not familiar with Hasidic Jews. They're basically a cult.
Yeah.
They're bad hombres, and they teach kids in like these like synod. I forgot the name. I forgot what they're called. Basically, they're very religious schools where they're just like completely insular and they're just taught like religious shit, and they're not allowed to use computers or anything else. That's cool. And one of the things they got in trouble for, this is like I guess unrelated, they took like a grant that was like supposed to help like schools buy computers, but like part of the religious doctrine was they're not allowed to use computers or something, and they're like, you just took like $10 million to get like computers or whatever the number was, and you don't use computers. What are you doing?
Okay, so here's like, this is where it almost gets kind of like, I guess, personal for me, is with people like Joe Jorgensen in power and like conservatives in general, because let's be clear, Joe Jorgensen is a conservative in this regard. Libertarian, like I said earlier, libertarians are just conservative, but one of them has a spine. That the problem that I have with libertarians and conservatives in this regard, in regards to education, is they basically would guarantee like the Christian, the overwhelming like Christian narrative in this country would rise to the top. And for me, that's really like unacceptable, because I'm a like, I guess you would call like a paleontology enthusiast. So like I'm really interested in like paleontology, right? And to the point where I want to go to school for it. And when you look at Christian based education, things like paleontology are just swept under the table, because one, it fundamentally disproves the Christian mythos, and that's unacceptable. And two, I mean, just intelligentsia in general is so like devalued in areas like that, or in schools like that. It's more about reaffirming faith and stuff. And so when you give like this idea of like a less unified like education on a national level, you guarantee that these weird like schools of thought are what start to take over and what start to thrive.
Yeah, like I don't know a whole lot about the Department of Education, so it's hard for me to make fun of this. But I do know, like for example, like Texas and what they choose to put or not put in their school books is like a huge like determinant of like what goes on in other school books, just because of like how that goes. So Texas having that conservative bent and what they're deciding to do literally affects everybody. Imagine if that like bent just went down to like those like fundamental levels, and there was no standardized like type of education you get, no things you need to talk about. Like we already ran into this problem of like that programming after like the Civil War, where what is it, the like books were labeled like, do they treat the South with respect? Like unironically, you know like the meme of like, you know, winners like, yeah, I'll look it up real quick. But like winners write history. Like unironically, the losers of the Civil War got to write the history of the Civil War.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
History.
I mean, there's a reason why the lost cause myth is so prevalent still. It's like, you know, it's these people who try to mythologize like fundamentally the bad guys.
Let's see if it shows it. I like I said, I live in like northern Florida or whatever, so I ran into someone who's just like the South, but it was like, you know, a war of northern aggression. Like unironically, I encountered these people.
War of northern aggression. Yeah.
I'm trying to see like.
I'm from Oregon, so I was on the right side, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from New York, so I was also on the right side.
You were on the right side. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Kentucky's one of those places that regrets being on the right side. They're doing their best to bring.
They're doing their best to, yeah.
Book title. I'm trying to remember. Basically, they would stamp like history books with like treats the South like fairly or something, but it was only like if they're just like the North were a bunch of dickheads and we did nothing wrong, and Northern like it's literally that shit. They got to like literally write the history books. It was actually fucking insane.
I'm like fine with like a level of like interpersonal nuance and like in like conversations like that, but the problem is like one side is like okay with like a nuanced conversation, the other side wants to rewrite the conversation.
Well, they're like, your nuanced thing is just like disrespecting America, and like it's like, no, I want to do service to America.
Yeah, what they want. Yeah, when like somebody on the right says when they talk about nuance, what they really mean is they want to be allowed to like spew the rhetoric that they're comfortable spewing and like get away with it.
Yeah.
And you can't do that, and that's what's really gross about it.
It's like that weird defense. Like my mom actually trusts this one out a lot of like, that's just like my opinion, but like they just retreat to like something's their opinion when they don't feel like getting questioned about it anymore, and that's like. Your opinion is just literally like it's founded on lies. Like this is not even a house of cards.
My favorite reply. I remember one time my mother and my brother both like got mad at me for like, I can't remember what the conversation was about, but basically they both tried to tell me like like that opinions can't be wrong, and I was like, that's bullshit. It's some people's opinion that the Earth is flat. Guess what? They're wrong. Like, it's not. This isn't like opinions can absolutely be wrong. Just because it's your opinion doesn't mean it's like sacred.
Well, it's
and,
like you can
above criticism.
Well, I feel like opinion in its genuine sense they might be correct about, but they're using the term opinion to just like hide behind like beliefs and facts that they don't agree with. Like if you tell them like, well, gays are bad, gays are just bad parents, and I'm like, well, no, we have all these studies, and like, well, that's just my opinion. It's
that's
like,
just my opinion.
Okay,
and
well, your opinion disagrees with like everything we know about like effective parenting, but I guess that's your opinion, and I'll have to question it at all.
And it's something that is weirdly exclusive to the right side of the right wing side of politics, because they foundationally are just wrong about like everything, and so they so often retreat to the like, oh, we just want to make sure that people's opinions are heard, and it's like, yeah, no, I think it's cool that like people's opinions are heard, but can we stop like elevating like voices to like the point where we consider them like all equal? Like, I'm sorry, Ken Ham debating like Bill Nye the Science Guy is a really gross like endorsement of Ken Ham's frankly repugnant worldview. Not repugnant because it's immoral. I mean, it is immoral in my opinion, but because it's just so wrong that it actively damages the intelligence of our society. Like shit like that's what really bothers me about that. It's just my opinion.
It's that like false neutrality thing where CNN or whoever, or like in that case wherever the fuck that debate was hosted, will like host two sides of like an insane, like one side is just like, yeah, I'm being reasonable, the other side's like, well, I'm completely fucking insane, and like, well, let's hear what each side has to say here, you know. There's an equal merit going on here. It's like, bro, like if you want to talk about like what we're going to do about climate change, like maybe there's a conversation there, or like
sure,
you know, how we choose best to launch satellites into orbit, but like discussing whether or not like the Earth is actually flat or not is probably not productive in any meaningful way.
And unironically, like and this is the problem, is because like a lot of those same people would tell you, well, yeah, of course. I mean, there's also a lot of them that would say the Earth is flat, but I think most of them would actually say, oh no, the flat earthers, they're insane, they're cuckoos, and it's like, okay, so can you please just go the extra step and acknowledge that you are anti-science on all this other stuff, because you sound like a flat earther when you talk about things like climate change, when you talk about gay marriage, when you talk about, you know, the age of the Earth and shit. You are just as anti-science as a flat earther in those regards.
Fuck, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, I had like a video about that. Like I feel like this is a thing like a lot of liberals like don't get when they try and talk about it. Like when you waste time proving these people are wrong about stupid things, like I'm trying to think, who's that? You know who Aaron Sorkin is? Like the guy who made that stupid TV show. Like what was it? I forgot the name of the TV show. It's like that famous clip where it's like the Dumb and Dumber. You know, this is probably perfect that he cast the Dumb and Dumber guy to lecture people about like, look how great America is. America isn't great. Is that it? The Newsroom. That's what it is. This stupid fucking clip. How long is this fucking? I'm not watching Aaron Sorkin for 5 fucking minutes. Not doing it. But yeah, like the gist of it is basically he's like, well, here's why America's not great. Then he owns this fucking moron with their loaded stupid question about why is America the best country on earth? Like that's the whole gist of that fucking video. And that's the liberal dream. But you know what happens when you spend your time talking about why America's not the best country on earth? You can't talk about all the other stuff that's actually fucking interesting. Like liberals don't get, like, just because you prove someone wrong doesn't mean you won. There's a certain value that conservatives have in not letting the conversation progress forward. If you're like ostensibly progressive or care about rights or care about freedoms, you have to move the ball forward. These people don't want things to move, and if they get lucky, they get to move stuff backwards a little bit. That's their goal. And by letting them letting them argue about dumb shit, they're wasting a resource that like a lot of I guess like I'm gonna say liberals again, like a lot of like the modern perspective doesn't understand that time is a finite resource, and what they're doing is wasting your time. Climate change, they don't like. If they waste time on climate change, which they've literally done for 100 years now, they just put enough plausible deniability in that conversation where it's hard to move the conversation forward. Well, guess what? We all fucking die. And they only have to keep that conversation going for another 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And then we're all like, oh, look, the water level rose, or the temperature rose by 2 degrees. And, oh, there's going to be more flash floods and more people displaced. And, oh, you think the immigration crises are bad now? Wait till all the shorelines are not you can't populate them. But
Jesus. That's a really good point. I never thought about the wasting time perspective, but you're right.
It's one of those things like once you see it, you can't unsee it when you realize like every time you entertain a stupid conversation, that's what you're doing. Like I was on modern day debates for something incredibly inane, like does male privilege exist or something like that, and I didn't even care about the topic, but I was like, whatever. I got a new YouTube channel, let's get her done.
Modern day debates.
Yeah, but there's so many like. There's like so many debates they have like tons of them on like is the earth flat, is the earth flat, is the earth flat, are aliens real, like bro, every time you waste like could this be like interesting in some degree? Like I don't know, maybe to some weirdos, but like ultimately every time you have a conversation about something uninteresting, like this is the whole reason why like our country focuses on stupid shit like abortion or fucking gun rights and all this shit. These are specifically designed wedge issues to make Americans argue about dumb shit because the conservatives get hot and bothered about it instead of like someone like you or I or I don't know, like I guess like the public in general willing to say like, bro, I don't give a fuck about, well, because one we do care about that. I want these things. I want abortion to be accessible. Want reasonable restrictions on guns, I guess, but ultimately I still am pro-gun. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
same. Yeah.
But it's like, like I care about these things. I can't let them go necessarily, but like their diehard commitment to only talk about these issues to the detriment of like, oh, unionization rate dropped from 33% 50 or 60 years ago to less than or about 10% today. Like, oh, we don't talk about this. Oh, the stagnating the wage gap. Oh, the overwhelming wealth of like middle class. Oh, lack of access to good health care. Like all these things have slipped by the wayside and just fallen due to the weaponization of wedge issues like by conservatives. Like that's who did this, like under like this really like manifested underneath Reagan, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, but, modern conservatism is it might as well just be called Reaganism because like it at this point.
Bro, Reagan's a fucking lib, okay? Like these people, like imagine if Reagan was in the Republican Party, like we just teleported the corpse of Reagan, reanimate at the RNC. It'd be like.
Yeah, but you're right. Like fucking Reagan would be a fucking Democrat. It's wild. It's so crazy to me.
It's like a Joe Manchin Democrat or something.
Yeah, like. It's like it's crazy to me that we're at a point where Reagan, who is like in regards to like overall effect that they've had on like the continuing circumstances of the country, is one of the most conservative presidents we've ever had, and. If he were alive today, it's such a weird paradigm where if he was alive today, he would just be a fucking Democrat, and like the conservatives would be calling him a fucking communist.
Well, it's like when Nixon was like an environmentalist who pushed for what's functionally the ACI. Like that was Nixon's proposal. Nixon, you know that guy everyone says like, oh, he was so corrupt and bad, but like right now we'd accept him as like, oh, he's like on par with like Joe Biden, apart from like, you know, his hatred of blacks and gays, I guess.
And it's crazy to me because the slipping political like expectation or the slipping expectation for our political figures in this country is so insane to me because I know it was a bit of a meme, but like how Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm before he was allowed to take office, and yet Trump is just like conservatives will just openly say that Trump should be allowed to profit off of his presidency. Do you not understand like why that maybe probably isn't a good idea? You just like that Trump like triggers the libs and that's it. You'll just defend anything about the guy because you just like that he triggers people. It's
There's other thing here in this stupid Joe Jorgensen thing. Over 60 years since Brown versus Board of Education, schools remain overwhelmingly segregated. More than half the nation's school children are in districts where 70% of students are either white or not. Like you're not wrong, but like, do you know what caused this?
No, I don't want to say she doesn't. But what I'm going to say is she doesn't care because.
She doesn't care. It's like wielding this like identity politic tool without like deconstructing like how this ended up. Like I don't know if people are like, well, the South is racist and the North isn't. Like no, everywhere is racist in different ways, and it manifests in different weird ways. But like the racism exists. Like I'm from New York, and like bro, like where I lived was segregated as fuck. Like we had like a Jewish area, we had an Irish area, we had like a Hispanic area, we had a black area. Like this isn't fucking New York, okay? Like I lived in one of those places that were like redlined to where black people were literally not allowed to move to where I lived.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not old enough to have been there for that. Redlining was gone by then, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But there's still like this, what's it called? This like unwritten like, hey man, like don't show these people the good area, you know?
Yeah. It's great. Well, and again, this goes back to what I said earlier about how libertarians and conservatives will make accurate statements, but then they don't want to address the reasons for it.
The 1350 is my favorite meme of that.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so good.
I actually had a fucking argument here. Like, this is so I got called like racist by or sorry, I didn't get called racist. What the fuck is that, a picture of an abortion? What is that? Oh no, it's just skull sizes. That's good.
Oh no. That's
So
a good meme.
I called this guy. I basically like implied this dude's. I don't usually go out of my way to call people like racist on shit or whatever.
No, I don't. I try to avoid that kind of.
Yeah, I don't like directly say that, but I'll just be like 1350 is stupid, and like the reason people say 1350 is just because like, oh well, N words are dumb, like, or N words are violent. Like that's what you're doing with that.
Yeah.
So he wanted to move this to DM. So I'm like, this conversation's a waste of time. All right, so this conversation on Twitter was like a waste of time, and then basically like it turns into him just being a race realist, and I'm like, so you get annoyed that I called you like racist, basically,
But then you're
like
actually
a race
do
realist.
racism.
Yeah.
Like,
And then there was this where he's just like, everyone's conservative now about some other thing. It's like, look, everyone's far right now, and it's like, bro, you're literally like you're a Christian, like a Catholic nationalist who's like a far right extremist or something like that, or sorry, who's a white sorry, you're like a race realist who's a Catholic nationalist, and you're telling me like, well, everyone's just far right nowadays. Like, what, you don't think you're right wing? Like, what do I even say to stuff like that? Like, I just stopped responding because I'm like, this is going nowhere. Like, I'm not wasting my time trying to prove race science to you.
It's interesting because they know that their position, and especially the label that's attached to it, is bad, which is why they will do anything in their power to rebrand themselves and call them not that.
Unironically, that was their point. They're like, the term racist doesn't even mean anything. I'm like, no, it means things. Like, here's what it means. And they're like, it's just used as like a slur. And I'm like, well, here's what it means. They're like, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything now. And I'm like, okay. And then when we start talking, they're like, oh yeah, that I meet that definition. And it's like, so you're a racist. Like,
so then you are a racist. Do you understand now why I called you a racist? Yeah.
What's funny is like they were saying the word means nothing because I guess they get called in and like it shuts down conversation. And there are words like that, right? Like the same way like fascist sort of functions, and like racist does function that way. And I do agree with them that like, it does function that way, but like because it's sort of like an attack on someone's character, like the way it's perceived in American culture. They're not wrong that it is used as sort of like that slur of like, oh, you're just a bad person. And it's like, yeah, it does mean you're a bad person, but you're a bad person for the beliefs we ascribe to you. And sometimes the terms can get overused, but in your case, it's not being overused. It's not being overused at all. In fact, it's being underused.
Yeah, I would even go the extra step and say that I think I don't know if overused is the right. I think a lot of times it might be misused, because I think that there are a lot of times when people might call somebody racist, and what they probably mean is you are supporting a system by which certain classes of people are discriminated against, right? Which functionally makes you racist. You know, it's like
like you do those extrapolations, and I would
sympathize longer to say like it. Yeah. You're in function, you are still the bad guy. You are still the bad thing. So, but like I do think that people like probably on a rhetorical level misuse or irresponsibly use the term racist, but that doesn't mean that they're using it incorrectly. It just means that they could probably go about it better. But like, I can't expect every fucking Twitter warrior to like, you know, write a 450 page
this medium is suited to conservatives, right? Like you have that 100 and something character limit, and like you can't express complicated ideas, so everything's just fucking stupid and superficial. And like, well, when you have a worldview that's not derived from like stupid and superficial things, well, it's very hard for you to express yourself well. Then you have like those 30 tweet threads or something weird like that where you write half a fucking novel and no one ever actually reads the whole goddamn thing. Whereas a conservative is like LOL 1350, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that perfectly encapsulates your beliefs, but mine didn't do so well in this medium, huh?
Well, and I can't remember. I think I actually looked at the 1350 statistic, and something that pisses me off about it is like I'm pretty sure it's misquoted, because the actual FBI stat that they're talking about
it's wrong. They overestimate it, but they don't care.
What it is the stat on this, the actual statistic itself isn't 13% of black people commit 15% of murders or crimes or whatever it is. It's 13% of the population are arrested for crimes. It's not convictions. It's like arrests, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it would be arrests, because the UCR, which is what they're quoting, it does come from police reports, and police reports don't do prosecutions, they just do arrests for like a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it still probably has like a great deal of overlap in that respect, but I don't think that's a great flaw.
Sure.
I think it's
Sure.
one. I talked about this in like the last video I posted, or 2 videos. I think it's the last one. But basically, like what you're doing here is, oh fuck, I forget what table it's on.
Fuck, I can't. It's been so long since
I don't remember. It's been a while. Expanded offense data. Oh, expanded homicide data. Is this gonna do it for me?
Maybe.
Well, that's not what I'm looking for. Whatever. But like murder, like one, they're choosing murder because it's the most disproportionate. But like for most people, like murder doesn't actually like affect your life. Like it's a horrific thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
on the average, like there's not that many murders in the United States. Like there's a lot, but like on a per capita basis, like are you likely to know someone who's murdered? Like, well, maybe if you live in a very impoverished area or something, sure. But like that's not a big deal. Like the things that most likely affect you are like rapes, assaults, robberies, stuff like that, which are tracked by the UCR. But what's weird is like they're not as racially disproportionate as the murder stat. That's why the murder stat's the one quoted. Even though the other stuff is much more relevant. Like this is how you know they're cherry picking. If you want to like do an aggregate of all violent crime, well, guess what? It's nowhere near 50%. It's probably like black people who are like 13% of the population, probably average on 30%. But like the interesting conversation there is, well, why does this occur? And the answer is poverty. Like in large part, it's poverty and a whole bunch of other shit. But like, you know, most of those things are like extensions of poverty. So like whatever, we'll just call it poverty.
It's cultural. It's culturally, socially, and most importantly, structurally enforced norms for a specific group of people that lead them to do specific things, right? And that's where like the real toxicity of things like the just pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality like starts to show its face, because they're like, well, if they didn't want to commit crime, they just should have not done it. And it's like, how can you be so reductive with such a complex issue?
Well, because they don't care. Like
they
that's
don't care.
the thing.
Yeah,
like you can be reductive when you don't care. When like the reductive thing just supports the worldview you already had. So like, why am I going to investigate this any further? And the answer is you wouldn't. Oh, here's the table. I found it. It's table 2. Wait, is this the table? Man, that's got age with it? Okay, whatever. Is this age of victim or murder? Oh, this is victims. It's not table 2.
No.
Murder offenders. Okay, this is the one, I think. Largely male, but like somehow we can't talk about toxic masculinity, even though
nobody ever
men
talked
are.
about the fact that it's mostly men.
Yeah, it's like
really
89% murder rate here. Weird.
Fucking,
I guess we just need to throw all men out of the country, huh?
yeah.
I feel like I need to caveat in case like the crazy right wing people watch this. Like, yes, I don't genuinely mean that. Just making fun of your position and how stupid it is.
Yeah.
So wait, how many murders we got here total? 16.
16,300.
60,000 people. So they're not even 50%. What year is this? This is 2018. So like here they're not. There's a year you can find where they are about 50%, but this one they're like 40 something.
Yeah.
So there are ones where, but like, so they're cherry picking a specific year where the number's the highest it can ever be. They're choosing a crime where it's the highest, which is like the least relevant, and also it doesn't matter because they're killing other black people, not white people. So like, who cares?
And again, it's not. I'm sure somewhere in this it stipulates that these are not people who like were convicted of crimes. These are people arrested for the crimes. So it's not the same. It's not like and we know, thanks to all the other data that we have, that African Americans are disproportionately arrested. Like so yes, of course, like this all like makes sense from a sociological standpoint. Like,
I wonder how that pans out. You think it would increase or decrease the rate? Because I could see an argument either way.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if black people are disproportionately arrested,
well, they get bullied into false confessions and
bullied into false confessions, they're disproportionately arrested. There's profiling, obviously. I would bet if we like, I mean, I'm not a I'm not like involved in sociology at all, but I bet.
Well, my master's in criminology, so I should be able to answer a question as long as it's reasonable.
Maybe you can do it then, because there's clearly I'm sure that number is way inflated over what the actual number of murders committed by African Americans is compared to everybody else. I would bet like $100 that is an inflated number just based on
convictions.
Oh yeah.
Oh, does this have convictions? I don't think they do. Murder offenders. Nope, that's literally the one I just had open. Arrest by offense. False data. Okay, let's see what Reuters has to say on this one. It's showing images that features misleading data on black and white murder rates. I mean, they're using UCR too. I just saw everything. Expanded homicide data from 2018, the most recent report. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not gonna give us the answer. I'll look into it another time. I mean, it could be interesting.
I mean, it would be interesting, but we're like so far off track.
Yeah. Back to making fun of Joe Jorgensen. Let's see what we got next here. Government spending.
Oh, government spending.
Let's see. Wait. Oh no, I want to do taxes. I do want to do taxes.
Okay, let's do taxes.
Okay, what's our predictions? I'm gonna say, national debt is a our debt is a national security issue. That's my call out here. I'm gonna say it's gonna be in the red section too.
The only one that I really feel comfortable predicting is that she says something that she mentions like a flat tax. I would
flat tax. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, no flat tax. Security. Oh, we were both wrong. All right. Let's check it out. Taxes are never voluntary. Oh, how? I guess I think we both got over ambitious. The answer was clearly taxation is theft.
That's the fucking dumb. It's exactly what every libertarian ever has said. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, we both overshot on this one. Like that was the easy one.
God.
We both got ambitious on the national security issue and the taxes are never voluntary. They are always paid under threat of punishment. If you fail to pay, the government says what you owe. You can be fined, have your wages garnished, assets seized, even go to prison. Voting for more government spending inevitably leads to higher taxes to pay for it, now or in the future. As president, I will work tirelessly to slash federal spending, make government much, much smaller, and let you keep what you earn.
Okay.
That's exciting. Where do we start with this one? Let's see. Taxes are never voluntary. Untrue! By engaging in our monetary system, they are functionally voluntary. You don't have to use USD. The reason that like you end up using USD and like the taxes that you pay fundamentally like support our system that we live in, and the only reason your money actually has value is because of taxation. The only reason people accept USD as currency is because at the end of the year, you know what your taxes have to be paid in US dollars, thus generating demand for your money. Without taxes, your money has no value. This point is stupid.
I think this is a broader issue that I have with libertarianism is that libertarians see humanity as a species as like obligate individualists, and that is so contrary to everything that has been successful about humanity. We are not individualists. We are absolutely a collectivist species, and the big reason why we have been so successful as a species is because we operate best as a collective. So I try not to bring up I'm trying not to bring up like a nature fallacy here, but we don't operate on an individual level like I'm just gonna say it, like naturally that's not our natural state of being.
Yeah. So it's true. I mean, humans are social species. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Like it's the reason we are here right now.
Yeah, this whole fucking idea that like the individualist perspective or the individualist individualist perspective is like the most important thing is absurd to me. Nothing in our history would suggest that. Is it important? Yeah, absolutely. Humans do have individuality. But like, it's also important to acknowledge that we do function best as a society, as a collective.
Yeah, like the way I usually try and balance this, I want to maximize like freedoms from like a collectivist lens. Like I think that the goal of that allows you to justify like all types of like welfare and like social like well-being things. And I'll say like the one thing that the thing I'm most mad at tankies about, apart from them being the worst human beings on earth, is that they couldn't at least keep Ayn Rand in check. They couldn't leave her in a pit in Russia, and as a result, we have to deal with these people in our fucking country. We sent this hacky fucking author from St. Petersburg to come ruin my country for the future. This is the ultimate Russian psyop, right? It wasn't like, corrupting our election processes in 2016 by spreading stupid propaganda in support of Trump. It was actually staged fucking 115 years ago when they let Ayn Rand not get aborted. Like that's really what happened here.
Stalin has been setting this play up since day fucking one, dude.
It's crazy.
His ghost has been pulling the strings this whole fucking time. Oh, I can't believe I didn't see it.
They got us good.
Man, yep. GG Russia. Holy crap.
Yeah, like they had our number like marked in from 1905 basically. February 2nd, 1905. That was the day America started going downhill.
Yes. However you say your Russian name, you will be our true. Born
Dude, like these people don't even speak English. It's crazy.
That's fucking crazy. Look at that. That's just gibberish. Like, what is that? Nah,
Oh,
it's
man.
I don't know. It's God. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
The
It's
only
fun.
way to I also love this meme. I'm gonna harp on this. That the only way the government can spend more money is to have higher taxes. Like I don't know. Like it's weird. Like how do you think the first government dollars were spent? Do you think we went and asked random people for the dollars that we didn't give them? Like does she not know what like? Surely she's watched Rand Paul rant about the Fed once upon a time. Like you know that we have the capacity to literally print money, and like that's
I
how we can do this. Like the reason we can run deficits is because like we can just print our own money and do whatever the fuck we want with it. Like I'm
from
not
my
saying you can do this
conversations
endlessly, but
from my conversations with libertarians, it always comes back to how we need to get back on the gold dollar. Like that's what they're obsessed with the gold dollar, and I don't know if it's because I think it's because they need quantifiable value to be, but like even that is just like
but
I
like even gold, like if we
Yeah,
had, if we had the dollar tied to silver, silver is like an actually like valuable like physical material. I mean, I
yeah,
think gold has value
yeah,
too, but like silver is used in like motherboards and transistors and like a whole bunch of
yeah.
electronics. Like why don't we
Are
just
we
go back to
just
a silver
gauging
standard?
this
Like,
based on like how much we like the shiny rock? But like, like this is an intrinsically like, or this is something that we have decided has value. So like, why why does it need to be backed by
like it,
something that we also decided just has value?
but like the U.S. dollar does have value because you need it in order to do
Because
stuff.
you
Like
need
this is
it.
what I.
Well,
Ugh,
it's also like
it's
one of the
so
most powerful
silly.
fucking purchasing tools on the planet, and yet we fucking act like it's like this fucking finite resource that is just gonna mythically like disappear one day if we like. Yeah, I don't know.
Like sometimes when I really want to make fun of libertarians, I harp on this and the idea that America could ever go bankrupt. It's like we owe $20 trillion to our deficit, and it's like or in our debt, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, and what currency do we owe that in again?
Yeah.
It's like U.S. dollars. It's like
US
I have
dollars.
it's like I have a mortgage on my condo,
Weird.
okay? And
Yeah.
you know what would make me never like fail to pay the note on my mortgage if I could literally print my own money. And fortunately for the U.S. government, we will literally always be like we could literally not go bankrupt. We owe our money in U.S. dollars, the currency we have the capacity to print. It's literally monopoly money. Like it's impossible for the U.S. to go bankrupt. Now you could argue the whole U.S. can collapse. You could argue that.
Sure.
I mean, okay,
Sure.
like
But I
could
think at that point
overprinting money.
you're beyond that. Like,
But
the
the
conversation,
ultimate
you
point
know?
is if you're saying that the U.S. can go bankrupt, you're just wrong. It's not possible. It is literally not possible for the U.S. to go bankrupt due to its debt because we control our own currency and that's what we owe the money in. It's literally that simple. Like if you disagree, you are fundamentally wrong about everything ever under any circumstance.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
You got it. I don't know what else I can say.
That was brutal. It was delicious.
It's just so silly. We're making fun of libertarians. Welcome, my fashy friend.
No, he's not-
You just keep doing that, right? Like,
All
all right, communist. All right, I know you want to rape children. So
Is it a meme between
It's
you?
okay.
Okay, all right.
Let's see so right now we're looking at the libertarian platform and we're just making fun of each one of the ridiculous takes.
oh yeah, is this recorded right now?
Yeah, I'm streaming right now.
Oh, wonderful.
So fascism. Right?
What's the next one we want to do? We'll take.
I'm a parallelitarian. I want what the Amish have. That's it. If he calls me that, like you just call him the Amish fascist. He knows he's wrong. Doesn't matter.
Let's do it.
We're not gonna have this debate on this stream, right?
Government.
We just did taxes. Let's do government spending. What's oh shit. Okay,
we didn't do. Okay,
right,
you guys. We'll let you guys get on these predictions if you want. What is the libertarian position on government spending going to be? We have to get the more theft memes in here, right? She can't go from taxes to government spending and not mention more theft, right?
She hasn't gone harder on like. I mean, she did mention it in the taxes section, but it was more. You were right. It was more. It was more about like the economic side of taxes.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get to the gold here. As president, I will use my constitutional authority to block any new borrowing. I will veto any spending bill that would lead to a deficit and veto any debt ceiling increase. I will give every cabinet secretary a specific spending reduction target to meet and hold them accountable. There's simply no excuse for sticking our children and grandchildren with a bill for these bipartisan. Okay, so yeah, she continues our path of like literally. What's funny is I think I preempted this in the last thing. Like
Like, we're going to give them a debt they can't pay for. They don't have to pay for this. That's not how any of this works. I would use my authority to block any new borrowing. Like, wait, but borrowing's good. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a 401k understands why borrowing is good. You know what? Like borrowing, like the U.S. government having what's it called? What's what I'm looking for? Bonds and shit. Them letting you borrow money. Like, there's this misconception in libertarians because they're stupid as fuck that that when the U.S. government like goes looking for debt, they go, "Please, sir, can I have some more, please?" And they go up to the rich man, they pull on their like coattails, and like, "Please, can I have some money?" And the reality of the situation is the opposite. The government says like, "Listen, we're going to issue out like $700 billion in bonds. Bid your way down. Whoever's going to give us the best rate is who we give the bonds to." That's how this goes. And there are people who want bonds and can't get them because the U.S. government's like, "We're not giving out any more bonds." They're using a security envelope in people's like portfolios or whatever to give you a guaranteed amount of income that you know will not go anywhere. There's no stock market fluctuations. You're guaranteed to get this amount of money in this amount of time once this bond reaches maturation, no matter what, unless the whole U.S. government collapses. Which, when your entire basis for like the things you're going to do is that the whole government collapses, you're probably incredibly stupid. That's probably a bad way to live your life, assuming the whole government's going to collapse.
But again, that's the problem with libertarians. It's fundamentally the same thing as conservatives. Just like with conservatives, it's usually more like socially based, whereas conservatives, it's based around the government. So with conservatives, generally, the fear is, there's these social problems that are going to lead to the downfall of our
And
country.
they're always right. They always lead to that downfall.
Wait,
They always lead to that downfall. We went over this before.
we get to flip the script here on the next part too. I will veto any spending bill that would lead to a deficit. Fun fact: we can think about deficits in this way. When the government runs a deficit, it is giving money to you, the average person. That means that the government is taking less money from you. So this person who hates taxes because it involves them taking money from you, when you decrease the deficit, that means the government is taking more from you while giving you less. That is what not increasing the deficit means. So what she wants to do is take money from you and give you nothing. That's the libertarian wet dream, apparently, is that the government takes money from you and gives you nothing in return. Classic Joe Jorgensen, really great. Like that's my favorite part, because you literally only have to imagine taxes. Like, there's two buckets. There's the government's pocket and it's your pocket. And the more the government takes from its pocket and puts in your pocket, the more money you have. The more money like a surplus is literally the government taking money from you and doing nothing with it. It's actually incredible. She's a fucking peach. They all get spending reduction targets. We're continuing the same meme of like, we take shit from you, you pay tax, we make you pay more money while getting less. That's like when Gatorade, they reduced their 32-ounce bottles to 28 while charging me the same amount of money. Like, that's literally Joe Jorgensen's policy. She's gonna invest in PepsiCo.
It's not reducing the budget. It's just reducing like what you spend. So hey, fucking U.S. corporation.
One of my favorite things, I think this is my favorite libertarian meme. I was on a libertarian like Discord, and they posted a meme, and it showed like, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Libertarian meme, Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. Do we have? Oh, okay. Pepsi versus Coke, blue cans versus red cans. They are so similar, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's time for something other than the big two. Maybe it's time to be a third-party pepper. Unironically, is this from the Libertarian Discord? Oh, it's from Libertarian Memes. This is why they're so fucking stupid, okay? So, fun fact, I actually know way too much about soda for no reason, because I got obsessed with like vintage machines and stuff for a while, so I have arcade machines and soda machines,
we've all got something like that that we know we need to.
Pepsi and Coca-Cola are the two major companies for distributors. Dr. Pepper is owned by a company called Snapple. When you go to a soda machine, depending on what state you're in, Dr. Pepper is bottled by the exact same company that does Pepsi or Coke. It just has a different label on it. It is literally Dr. Pepper being bottled by one of these two companies and put in one of their vending machines, depending on who has the distribution rights to it in a given state. So this is a hilarious metaphor. Well, it's a hilarious metaphor to me, because you think you're picking a choice that's not one of those two. In reality, it's both of them just hiding a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hysterical to me because it literally Dr. Pepper. If you ever, like, depending on where you are, it'll be in a Coke machine or it'll be in a Pepsi machine. It's always gonna be in one of the two because based on their bottling agreements, it's one of Pepsi or Coke's distributors who are creating and bottling Dr. Pepper. And it's like
this is why the
idiots.
Electoral College is important too, so Dr. Pepper has a chance too. All right.
Yeah, the Electoral College makes Dr. Pepper viable apparently.
I like the entire libertarian meme is just so easily debunkable with like those mining towns. Like the second you get rid of government regulation on any kind of business, like the corporations just become governments.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
like that alone, just like
What
it's
is
like
it?
we need complete deregulation. It's like, all right, I thought you ain't a big government.
And I said this to GKR earlier, is that they're basically just corporate monarchists. Like they just,
Yeah, I know, which is why they should actually just support monarchism.
they should just it's like always my go-tos. I'm like, you're basically just a feudalist with more steps at this point. You want corporations to replace like
Exactly. I just want them to go the whole way. I just want them to go.
It's amazing. It's good memes though. It is good for the memes.
Fucking libertarians. Okay, we can't have a whole lot of more categories here.
Let's
COVID.
see.
Let's do COVID-19. Oh, man.
Yeah, let's do COVID-19.
All right.
We haven't done COVID-19.
I mean,
Let's
there
deny
has
the
to be
science, man. Let's challenge the science, all right?
Do you think? Do we think she's going to go that we can't let the cure be worse than the solution, or is that too Trumpian for her? I think it's going to be there. I think it's going to be
I feel like
there.
libertarians and conservatives are usually pretty eye to eye on that. They're usually like, libertarians are usually like a little bit more about like, oh, I just kind of think that like people shouldn't be forced to do this thing or whatever.
I think she's going to walk the line.
I think you're right. She may not outright say it, but I would bet that she's going to at least allude to that in this response.
I think she's going to say that people should do the right thing and we should we should believe the science, but we shouldn't make anyone do anything they don't want to do.
Yeah,
I think that's how she's going to toe it, which is functionally the don't let the cure be worse than the fucking whatever.
Exactly. It's functionally the same, but they're dressing it up.
Are these vaccines? I love vaccines. Pump them full of this shit.
I hope that they talk about vaccines. They got it. She's got to talk
about
it.
The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed a tale of two Americas. One of the people who stood ready to solve our problems quickly, and one of federal bureau. Oh god,
it's true. What are you talking about? Like this is the thing with you guys. It's like, didn't the Republicans? I'm not saying I like the Republicans, but then they had like a plan ready, and then like the Democrats like, now we want like funding for our cities, like in there, and they refused to vote on it. Like that did happen. Like you know that. Like it's so funny how you guys just immediately ignore that and then like hide behind the academic consensus.
Wait, like what do you? Can you clarify?
Yeah, wasn't there like the COVID recovery package?
Are you talking? Wait.
Well, yeah. They passed one. They passed, I think it was the CARES Act, and then there's a second act which had the federal funding in it, but like Republicans didn't want to pass it because the state funding. Republicans didn't want to pass it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was more than that. It wasn't just that.
Specifically, Mitch.
Yeah, there's a lot of ridiculous social demands in there.
Specifically, Mitch McConnell blocked it. Like even Trump was like trying to pass that one, if I remember correctly.
Well, I just don't get who.
There's like a $20 trillion.
All right. So let's give an example here, right?
Stood by to solve our problems. She has to be just referring to like the capitalists who just wanted to like make things better or something. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. The solution is to remove red tape, and I guess I just had to go to the next sentence. The solution is to remove red tape and regulate so that consumers can get treatment and test products as quickly as possible. Like, okay, so I guess she is saying the people who stood by ready to solve our problems were the capitalists who shipped all of our manufacturing over to China and made us completely unable to prepare for this. Like, I guess that's who we need to empower.
Yes, we need to solve the problem through supporting the thing that caused the problem in the first place. Congratulations, this is your brain on libertarianism.
This is insane. Like even like what's it, Canada? Even Canada, like they have a certain like percentage of their cows that they make sure that they have to be able to produce their dairy and their own meat on the off chance that the U.S. gets mad at them. Like this is the basic idea. Is like if you think if you think beef is important to you and like cow milk is important to you, like how the fuck can not having like medical supplies built in the confines of your own country not be an important
These
thing?
people don't care about anything except like red line go up. Like this is the same thing. They're neoliberalism, but with like with morals.
I want to call you out on that one, Esther. Like we weren't necessarily wrong here. What I was laughing at is her saying that there are people ready to solve the problems. And I was like, oh, who's ready to solve the problem? And then she goes, and then there were federal bureaucrats. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, who are these federal? Like, who is standing in the way, and who is there to solve the problem? If it wasn't bureaucrats, like, I would figure you could say there's one group who was trying to solve the problem, one group who weren't, who are all technically federal bureaucrats. I'd be like, okay, like whatever. But she's saying that the federal bureaucrats are all the ones who didn't want to do anything, and it's like, okay, and then it's just like the capitalists were there to save the day. You know, What's the Atlas saw us and he was gonna like shrug in our direction and like drop medical supplies on our souls, but he chose not to because something Iron Man.
All right, yeah. So like, imagine if like you're a Democrat, right? And like all of a sudden the Republicans have a new bill. Like the Democrats got their new bill for COVID recovery. The Republicans put in theirs like we need to outlaw gay marriage completely. Like if you're a Democrat, you're never voting for that. Like that's essentially what they did with the COVID recovery.
I mean that's called a poison pill. Yeah, I mean it's stupid not
to
fund local
that's
governments.
What the Democrats did. That's what the Democrats did to the Republicans.
Well,
it was just extra funding for cities.
But wait, state governments are going bankrupt like everywhere. Red and blue states.
I don't like these cities. That's a good thing.
But that's everywhere.
But that negative
literally everywhere.
Like it's a good meme if you don't like people. Like I live in like rural Southern Oregon, so like people around here like always talk about how much they fucking
the goal is to like defund these cities. Exactly. Like you're actually making my point.
Well, no, if you're trying to like collapse the whole government, like I guess this is a good meme. But like it's literally every state. It's not just big cities. Like the degeneracy that you're scared of in big cities,
every
Esther.
City. Like
it's everywhere.
My very small
I believe that the funding was specifically for these major cities. Like we can go over this right now. Maybe I'm going to be blown the fuck out right now, but let's do this, okay?
Okay.
Maybe I was watching too much Tim Pool during the day. It corroded my mind, right?
I genuinely don't even know if that's
I've taken the beanie off.
You're off the beanie? Fuck.
I'm off the beanie.
Head is shiny and you are awake. Yeah.
COVID relief funding for cities. Price assistance for is that the CARES Act?
Wait. But if they funded the big cities, wouldn't that trickle down to the small cities?
True. That's how it works, apparently.
That's how economics works.
How should states, localities spend? It's not the what's the fuck the name is the second act? COVID relief bill.
It was like a $20 trillion package.
It's just like another stupid acronym. Like the whole point of these acronyms is so I can remember them, and I can't remember them. Economics. Nope, that's just CARES. I had to like spell it out. I'm like CARE. Oh no, that's CARES. Oh, second COVID relief. Okay, this one's in 2020. Heroes Act. Okay, this was Heroes Act. I have the bills heading Heroes Act. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the Heroes Act. Get a fact check right now. I could just be shown to be a dumb fucking lib right now. Let's see. So 1.3 emergency supplemental appropriations to federal agencies, economic assistance to governments at the state, local, tribal, and territorial levels. So, I mean, locals, not just cities. And states are also not just cities. Yeah. Tribes are probably not cities.
I assume not.
So, I mean, we can look into this a little bit more, but it does seem like it's to fund every single level.
Yeah, so this is the narrative I got, right? Like maybe my framing's off, but this is what I got. So
just to pause for 1 second, but see what I mean? Like Esther understands the value of narrative, and I respect the fuck out of that because he gets it. Sorry, continue.
Okay. Yeah. So like this is the framing that I was given like the first time, right? So I got that the Republicans had like given a base a stimulus package that the Democrats were going to agree on, and then several Democrat House leaders then proposed a new bill that had basically the same thing but extra funding to their cities. And they would, and like specifically, this would have gone like against all Republican interests. Like if you wanted to commit political suicide, like you wouldn't vote for this if you were Republican.
I mean, no one even knows what's inside of these bills. No one gives a shit.
I was gonna say,
well, no one. What do you mean? Like it's like imagine if you're a Republican, right? And you're gonna pass a bill, and you have the you're able to like block this bill from being passed, and you said, yeah, we're going to ban gay marriage in this. Yeah, but we also gotta like have COVID relief, and then all of a sudden in your narrative, it's like actually
sure. Wait, the holdup is when like you stop and you start debating that, and then you know it's a poison pill. But like that poison pill is because like gay marriage become illegal. But like the average person is not going to notice that like the whatever got X amount of money and we got
totally.
Y
what do you mean? It totally matters. This is like a slippery. This is a slippery slope. We can get like once you give one concession, another concession seems reasonable. You're setting a bad precedent. And any Republican knows this.
Yeah, but
and
so
then
I
like
don't even know if this concession you're talking about is true. But I mean, you're the one talking about narrative. All the Republicans would have to do is not talk about how, like, assuming this is true. Once again, assuming this is true.
Yeah, assuming this is true, because I could be talking bullshit. Like that would be
Assume what you're saying is true. Like all the Republicans would have to do is not like give into that narrative. They just pass the bill, and then they could just talk about how much they gave to like their.
Yeah, but they don't have any media apparatus. Like even Fox News does this, and then you'll claim that like Fox. Like I get like you got to understand, dude. Like,
wait, hon, you know, like all these news apparatuses are like turning on Trump right now, but like, was it like 90% of Republicans believe the election was stolen or something?
If they don't do it, like,
wait, no, I'm saying that like they have effective messaging because of all the Republicans in the country, it's something like 80 or 90% believe like there are like huge election irregularities, despite like no evidence to demonstrate that.
Awesome. I don't like the process. Get rid of the process.
Well, sure, I know.
Like, it's a rigged game.
Yeah, and so that wasn't the point. The point was that
I know. But the thing is, like,
your point was that there's no effective Republican messaging apparatus, despite on a fucking dime over like 3 months of messaging, every single fucking Republican, I'll say 80% of Republicans believe that the election was like corrupt and invalid, and there's tons of illegal voter
only
election
deepens
fraud
the
going
conspiracy. It like because it doesn't invalidate my worldview. It only deepens the conspiracy. I'm being silly here, right? But you got to realize like how these power games are played.
I think I do. The Republicans could have passed a bill, claimed it funded their cities better, and like the average Republican stooge would be none the wiser. But I mean, this is sorry, to be clear, this is true of everybody.
We're currently debating over nothing because this is my fault for bringing up something that I couldn't defend. Or couldn't even talk because I really don't know.
I mean, I'm looking at the bill right now, and I mean it's pretty broad. It like even that emergency.
You know what? Our little like Civil War like flame starter, idiot Tim Pool probably has a video about it in the past. So like let's dig up at this clickbait because that's probably where I saw it.
So the nice thing I'll say about Tim Pool is I don't think he's bad faith. I think he's just the dumbest human being on earth.
I think he's
he's extremely dumb. Okay, he's not dumb. It's difficult to describe. I'm not going to get into the complicated. I'm not going to get into psychology, Tim Pool.
I have the bill open right here. The emergency relief for state, territorial, tribal, and local governments. In the actual wording of the bill, it is literally as generic as that. It's just more words. It's not. I don't see anything in here about like the only thing that it really specifies heavily is the District of Columbia, but like I mean that's just
all right. I got the video right here. All right, this is April 9th.
We're not watching Tim Pool's videos for information.
We're not watching Tim Pool. I'm waiting to like watch. I'm getting through the ad because I'm in incognito mode. I'm gonna see what he quotes here.
Ugh. Fine.
All right, here we go. No.
Just send me the source real quick.
Yeah, it was Senate Democrats block $250 billion expansion of small business loan
Actually,
program.
I'm gonna predict how this goes out. Maybe there's like some sort of per capita distribution, and Republicans are like, well, because the cities have more people, they're getting more money, and it's like, well, yeah, that's how people work and counting. Like, I don't. Like I imagine that's the only take you could have where you can argue that cities are getting disproportionate amounts. It's like, well, yeah, New York City has 10 million people in it.
Oh, here we go. Same thing. Senate at stalemate over more COVID-19 aid after Republicans and Democrats block competing proposals. Like, maybe this is like a both sides meme.
Now here it is. I think I found it. Include in the list of eligible issuers for such purchases any of the territories and possessions of the United States, a political subdivision of a state with a population of more than 50,000 residents, and nothing after. It's a fucking nothing burger after that. I don't know. But
what is it saying?
A political subdivision of a. This is like in like the stipulations. A political subdivision of a state with a population of more than 50,000 residents.
Political subdivision of a state with more than. That's where the aid's going to, or
I guess that's what it seems like to me here.
Huh.
But like that's everywhere.
Well, they're saying like what's weird is like the political subdivision. Like, would you just mean you would distribute it over like groups of 50K, or only just like I find it weird to say like, oh, if your town is less than 50K, you wouldn't be getting any money.
It doesn't. Very odd. Well, it's capital S state, so I'm assuming it means like on a state level.
Huh.
But again, I don't know why you stipulate 50,000 residents. Then
all right, here's from CNN. Like, what do you think? Is CNN left wing enough for you, or is it too right wing?
CNN's stupid as fuck, but I'll take it, I guess.
All right. The Senate is an impasse over approving additional COVID-19 aid after Republicans and Democrats blocked competing proposals on Thursday, creating uncertainty over whether and when there will be bipartisan agreement to approve further relief.
But to be clear, like we know that there was this impasse. What we're debating is what their specific issue is that they're having an impasse over.
So
Democrats
blocked an effort by Senate Republicans to approve. All right. So Democrats blocked an effort by the Senate Republicans to approve by unanimous consent an increase in funding for a small business loan program. Here we go. And then set up for, to deliver relief fund amid the coronavirus, citing demands for additional funding for hospitals and state and local governments. And Republicans blocked the alternative proposal put forward by Democrats, arguing that it's urgent to approve the increase in funding for the program immediately, and that other issues can be addressed later.
That's insane. The funding hospitals and state and local governments that are all like bankrupt is less important than like the PPP program, which is like notoriously like being unregulated right now and just like a cash cow for like large businesses to get like tons of like unregulated money from the government. Like what?
That's
so this is where we get into the framing, because I don't like I'm gonna listen to.
All right, hold on, we're moving past this. The goal is to dunk on
no. Hold up. I'm gonna come back to you in 5 minutes. I'm gonna come back to you in 5 minutes.
We'll make
I'm gonna see if I can find something, and otherwise I'll concede, and you can like laugh the fuck. You can blow the fuck out of me, all right? Like it's all for this stream to see that I failed, and you're beautiful, guys, right?
Okay, fine, whatever.
I mean, you don't. It's all right.
Okay, let's go paragraph 2 on this one. As we entered the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, federal lawmakers passed the CARES Act, giving away trillions to corporations and special interests, and thwarting our long-term recovery. This will cost the average taxpayer much more than they get in short-term cash, and will make it harder for small businesses to recover. Instead, we must get government out of the way so businesses can rebuild as quickly as possible and allow Americans to get back to work.
Libertarians make good points when they're talking about the problem, but their solutions suck. This is exactly what they did. She did it again.
Well,
she's talking exactly about what the problem is, and then saying we need to get government out of the way. That's the fucking problem, guys.
It's like
there's too much.
The issue is she sort of captures the issue here, but in the stupidest way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We give away trillions to corporations and special interests. Yeah. True. And that we didn't give it to all these other people. True. But then we should have just given the money to the right people.
Yep, but no, it's government bad, fucking free market good.
But like, the solution's not to give the money to the right people, it's to do nothing and get out of the way for small businesses to recover it.
I literally, like...
Hold on, let's see if it... let's check for our memes. What was it? It was... freedom. Let's do no references to freedom, huh? Okay.
Interesting.
Let's skim this
what was it? There was another one.
I shouldn't have care about that. Looked after one other. Shouldn't she reject the idea of essential workers? Like, doesn't that seem like a thing libertarians shouldn't say?
No, because no. Because here's the thing: libertarians will talk about personal freedom in the context that the government can't tell you what to do, but God damn it, your boss can. So.
Well, I'm saying, like, by their logic, there should be no essential or non-essential workers, because like there should just be like workers, and they're all like functionally essential because you can do whatever the fuck you want. Who's the government to tell you what is or isn't essential? It's just.
I mean,
weird. I don't know. I mean, I'm nitpicking here, I guess, but
maybe I don't know. Maybe there is a like very surface level of nuance that she's engaging in there. We're saying, yeah, there are essential workers, I guess, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Wait, what the fuck is this? Are we going into conspiracy territory? What's the flu have to do with this? Or we cannot say the same. Essential washing for guys, girls and lives in them too. There. True.
It was of utmost importance that we be able to identify those who had been exposed. Okay. Again, as a libertarian, how are you going to do that without simultaneously infringing on what you consider...
Well, we'll use the Rand Paul system, okay? We'll get churches to pool their infinite funding, okay? We'll get the Vatican to donate its underground, like, treasury to fund our COVID testing.
All right, I need a little help here. Sorry, you're going back. I sorry I interrupted you. I'm just trying to find the specific bill. Like, all I hear is references to it. I can't actually find it. I want to read it, and I can cite this parts I'm talking about here.
I think Blitz had it.
Did you find it? Like, do you know what it's specifically called, or?
Yeah, it was the. I found. Yeah, hang on.
But this is really funny. This part, like, man, the COVID stuff is so hard to keep track with. But she's like, the CDC required the only diagnosis that could be used was the one that they received, that they themselves designed, a test that ultimately did not work. So all this bureaucracy stalled. The infection rate accelerated.
Awesome, man. Sweet.
So the thing is, there were two types of tests. There was like the COVID test and the antibody test. One of them tells you if you currently have the disease. The other one tells you if you did have the disease. The COVID tests were fairly accurate. The ones that were very inaccurate were the antibody tests, because the antibody tests, there were like 80 fucking different ones, and like almost all of them just didn't work properly, or had like a what was it, a very high false negative rate? Fuck, I'm gonna fuck it up. But that had false something rates. Basically, they just didn't fucking work. They were just like they were the what's it called, the discerning rods or whatever. The
yeah. No,
you know what I'm talking about? Fuck the something rod. Discerning rod. I'm trying to remember this term. Nope. The dowsing rod, I think it is. Dowsing rod. Okay, I spelled it wrong. But yeah, it basically was just a stick they said could like find water, and it was just a fucking stick. It literally did nothing. They actually had a famous version to completely detour here. There was like police and military devices. This was in Iraq. They sold this bomb detecting device that literally did nothing. So like just killed a whole bunch of troops because this like UK company got like $1 billion to send all these devices that were just like a fucking Game Boy Color like put inside of a stick, and they just shipped it over, and it just like you hit the on button and just like a light came up and then played the Nintendo logo, and they're like, oh, I guess it's working. Like,
you don't understand. It's the free market,
bro. They sold these things for like 10 grand each.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, here it is. The ADE 651. How much do they sell these each for? They sold them all over the place, like particularly to like these
$60,000 each.
You gotta stop slaughtering libertarians. You're committing genocide. It's
oh my god. This is what they wanted. The way we could have solved the Iraq war was by allowing more ADE 651s. It was just government regulation getting in the way of the solving all bomb problems by allowing by arming these poor impoverished people from Iraq and Afghanistan to walk around these devices. And actually the trick is the device itself doesn't detect the bomb. The guy, when he detonates the bomb and explodes, he's actually the detection device. It's just a trick.
Do you think that libertarians unironically think that like snake oils men are okay, and that they would get crushed by the free market?
That's a good question.
Because like I get this impression that like if you tried to pin them down on it, that their response would basically be exactly that. They would say, well, the free market will sift them out. It's like, well, before it was illegal to be a snake oil salesman, for the most part, it's still not like totally illegal. But why were they so popular then? Like the free market didn't sort them out.
There were so many things like saying like, oh, we like cure COVID and we help with COVID around this time, and like people jumped on that shit. Like, what was it?
The fucking president endorsed fucking hydroxychloroquine before I had like any goddamn or no, it was like at that point I think it was like basically like it's either like it was like either questionable on whether or not it provided a benefit, or it was just like no, it doesn't help.
Well, you're proving their point though, because there wasn't a huge run on hydroxychloroquine and we weren't running out of it everywhere. So what's your point? Wait, no.
All right,
wait,
so I actually found the specific section here. It's in like the Blitz. You could send it to him, but like right here we see the requirements are whether any covered regulator, as of the date of which the report required under the section submitted, has adopted a policy, plan, or strategy to promote racial, ethnic, and gender diversity. Like this is a necessity in order to qualify for the program.
Okay, but hang on.
But that's not what. Hold on, your argument wasn't that they were trying to help brown people. It was that they're trying to give it to cities, not.
And my problem with
that
this
wasn't the argument of the poison pill.
Is that really worth shooting down a true $2 trillion stimulus bill? Because
it is what it's insinuating is that the small businesses that were supposed to get the help are, and this is the narrative spin I'm given. So like, feel free to blow me the fuck out of the water, but you're setting a precedent that the small businesses have to comply with this specific order.
Wait, so hold on.
Okay,
wait. There's two things we're talking about. Let's go.
Which section is it in? Because I want to read it.
Yeah. So it's I went to the text section on the website, and then I just put in the search bar, has adopted a policy plan or strategy to promote racial, ethnic, and gender diversity. It's right there.
So our initial contention that the reason the bill was shot down was that they were trying to give all the money to the big cities, and the Republicans didn't want to give money to big cities because that was mean or something.
No, no, because you have a little bit of this language coded in there, and like they understand what that's being done to like influence.
But so you're just citing the diversity thing, but you also said the Republicans were the ones who want to refund the PPP program, which is what you're talking about, and those constrictions on the PPP program. Which one of the issues with the PPP program is that they had it implemented through big banks, and that largely like it was something like white-owned businesses were the most likely to get loans, and then like you kind of went down like the hierarchy in that respect, where Asian businesses were then slightly less likely, and then Hispanic businesses and Black businesses were less likely to be eligible for these PPP loans. Which, if you think about it, if it's to survive a pandemic, why do you have?
All right, so now we gotta. That's a whole other topic.
Okay, sure. Well, whatever. But like, I don't know if that's what they're trying to fix or not. But the point is, like, we weren't even that was not the stated reason for them shooting down the bill. Now, maybe you'd argue they're arguing A, but they were just trying to avoid the being called a racist tag, so they didn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But... And like the thing that
okay, but now we can't know that. Like, this is an uninvested. Like,
all right,
there's
one other thing that I think that might be present here. And again, I think that there was some kind of Republican deal compromise that was made that removed this language from it. Okay. So let's see there. Maybe I'm wrong with this. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I actually have a way we can investigate this claim. I live in Florida. I'm going to go drive to what's his name? Little Marco's house. I'm going to kidnap him, put a gun to his head, and I'm going to be like, Marco, was it really about the PPP loans? And
oh my goodness,
goodness,
man, we're talking about terrorism, right? Like you.
No, it's not terrorism if you do it to Republicans. Come on.
Yeah.
Get in the left.
Oh, I mean,
true base and black pill.
I love how you just like, yeah, we're gonna kill and rape people, and it's
in Minecraft. In
Minecraft, yeah, in a Minecraft.
I kid you not, you fed post more than me. Like I barely fed post. Oh my goodness.
What do you mean? Like the feds are going to come after me?
No, they won't. That's the thing, because you actually do have institutional power. Like it's okay if Republicans do it. And they're like, oh wait, no, they did this one right with.
Esther, we're getting off topic. We're going to go back to.
I know. I'm sorry. ADHD. We're on stream.
What did you search for? My internet was being shitty.
All right, I'll get like the actual text I sent you.
Neutrality and I think for some reason I saw neutrality. I was thinking net neutrality. I know this one's gonna be. Hold on. Okay, I think this could.
Neutrality and peace is gonna be so boring because she's gonna say she's okay.
I think it could surprise us. Do we pull out of all foreign?
Really? Okay, so here's what's gonna because this is what I think is gonna happen because this is one of the few things where libertarians tend to be okay on, where they want to reduce our global like military presence, but like still maintain like a strong power on the world stage. She could surprise me.
I think she's gonna pull out of like international trade deals. I don't know. Maybe
trade deal?
No, maybe not pull out of trade deals. I'm trying to think of a way to say this.
That's anti-free market. She wants to.
Are trade deals anti? I guess they are.
Trade deals are the most free market thing.
I'm gonna say she wants us to stop helping countries with like overseas funding.
Okay. I'll give you that. I think that there's something in there about ceasing international or foreign.
Like international. Okay. Yeah. I think. All right. Let's try it. Oh, something Switzerland was already referenced. All right. My plan is to turn America into one giant Switzerland, armed and neutral, and with the military force to defend America's shore and soil against any foreign attackers or invaders, protected by an armed citizenry and a military laser focus on defending America. No U.S. involvement in foreign wars. Bring home our 200,000 plus American military personnel stationed in foreign countries, and no U.S. military aid to foreign government. No U.S. blockades or embargoes of non-military trade. Peace at last. Okay, it seems a little naive. Let's see some of the specifics here.
Yeah.
National means our nation, country, United States. Unfortunately, this one is most like their friends, high Democrats, Republicans. There's no. She just doesn't direct like aid overseas. Stop allowing ourselves to be drawn into them. We must. She's peace and neutral. Okay, I mean, like I think it's naive and stupid because she's not talking about how like we need to get involved with like our allies and build coalitions overseas. It just seems like that sort of like standoffish thing, which is like really like you're just gonna like cede the foreign like policy game to China basically, which seems like a bad hombre, but
that's my big problem with people on the right in international policy is they basically just want to like basically let China run wild. Ironically, we should
because we should have nuked him in the Korean War.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm being memey here, right? Like
I know. I don't know. We need to. I'm just gonna sound super libby. We need to invest more in developing nations like what China is doing because in like 50 years, like Africa is gonna be like the resource hotspot in the world, and China will have unlimited access there.
Wait,
but we got to be really careful when we do that because usually what that ends up entailing is like we remove all the actual big brain people from those countries and then we implant our people. So like none of the people from the native countries actually run the country. It's just all foreign influence. It's neocolonialism.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong, but like I guess this is about as liberal as I get when I say like it's like I mean. I like we could just like work on a better policy than that, but also like it's like that or China does it, and frankly like I mean I'm a leftist and I don't want China to fucking run things.
Yeah, fuck China.
Well, I mean you can crush China pretty easily. Like I think that this is the major difference between like the esoteric right and like the lefties is that the right in this respect is actually willing to let like a lot of people have less material resource in order to stop like these large power grabs from these countries. Like maybe you can even view it from your lefty sphere as like a utilitarian benefit.
But China is investing in these countries, and they're going to be the ones who are reaping the benefit in like I said in like 30 or 50.
Yeah, but if we can, I think we can crush China are you talking about
militarily?
No, not militarily. If we just test them and we like block them from trading with other countries.
Economically, sure.
Yeah, economically.
But right now, you have to like reach out and like establish those relations to isolate and box out China. Is like what we're saying. Like we have the edge in this respect because we have like I don't know like an 80-year head start on China. But
that's not
doing
gonna last.
This like pseudo isolationist shit will not pan out in that respect.
The way they're expanding, we have to counter that expansion, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but with a type of expansion of our own because they will outplay us. They are outplaying us right now.
I think
they're
it's like
playing 5D chess. We're
playing then I am okay with China completely like dominating everything because I don't want us ruling anything.
I don't know. I'm not saying we should rule. Like I'm not.
Well, no,
I don't want like it. I don't. I'm not like an interventionalist or anything. But I also know that like it's either we flex our power on the world stage or China does it. And
I'm okay with China doing it in this case then because I don't think I don't.
Because you're an authoritarian. Like what the fuck? Like of course.
How am I authoritarian? I literally want to be an Amish person. I don't want to rule. I want to be.
China's not going to let you. China's not going to let you be an Amish person. They're going to throw you in a fucking concentration camp, just like they're doing with Uyghur Muslims. They don't give a shit. They're not going to let you get like this is.
When are the Chinese coming to North America? They're like we're talking about putting like
you're talking okay. You're talking short game. I'm talking long game here. I'm not thinking about like what's going to affect me down the long road because I'll probably be dead by this point. But like long game, China is poised to overtake us as the world power on the planet.
And if there's only so much we can expand though. Like the red line can only go up so far. They're eventually like, and maybe this is the the accelerationist meme, but they will eventually hit like a point where they can't expand, and we're gonna have to decline.
Yeah, but then that's at least gonna be at a point where they match us economically and militarily, and they're not at that point yet, but they will be. So if we haven't like hit the cap, China definitely hasn't hit the cap, and if they have like unlimited resources in places like Africa to exploit, that cap's going to be a lot higher for them.
Do we really know if we've hit the cap or not? Like a lot of these numbers could just be fudged.
I don't think so. I don't think we've hit the cap yet. I think we could absolutely go, like, as crazy as it sounds, I think we could absolutely go harder.
You know what? I absolutely agree with you. And now you're actually like swaying me over in this respect. This kind of sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I said what I needed to say. I just think that like nobody wins if like the current Chinese regime wins. I think that is like one of the worst possible outcomes on a global stage.
Like Africa was like the last bastion of hope like for this world, and now we're.
I want to clarify like one position real quick. So I'm pretty sure when you said like America needs to like expand its influence or take over more things, you're referring to like helping build up democracies and develop
Yes,
that's
no,
the that's the problem,
democratic
because it
relations,
erodes
right?
everything
Okay.
locally. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
Just
I
making
want
sure.
I want to support local countries, and this is actually kind of what China is doing. They're being really smart about it. They're not like invading. They're heavily investing in the development and education of African
So
nations.
I've heard contradictory things here. I think that they've done like a lot, like they didn't. I don't think they've done major infrastructure work compared to what was done before. But I don't think like in terms of the country scale, it's that much. And it's just enough to crush the local countries because they're so poor.
Like we want to turn them into like Japan's and Germany's, not like banana republics, basically.
What's that?
Like we want to help like Africa develop into like a Japan or like a Germany where you help like build them up. Like during the whole world.
Yeah, but I don't like German people. I like brown people from South America.
Well,
yeah, I'm talking about those countries too. We help build them up.
That's the problem. Building them up is the problem.
Oh God!
I
don't think the problem is building them up isn't the problem. It's that the United States up to this point, our foreign policy has been less like. It's weird how we let Japan kind of basically do their own thing. I mean, we had to nuke them to do it, but like when we like talk about like supporting like foreign countries, what that usually entails from like an American perspective, how we actually end up doing it pragmatically is we usually end up supporting some sort of dictator. Things don't actually improve, and it just becomes a country that we can influence internationally. We don't actually support them as independent nations.
I actually think that's the opposite. When maybe it's the same thing, just in different. Yeah, when you introduce like the American like the democratic structure into these countries, basically these become satellite states of the United States.
No.
Yeah, they are subject to the exact same social forces. They operate almost like
you're assuming the material that would only be true if like the material conditions were the same.
But you're talking about increasing the material conditions to be something similar. Like you're talking. I'm talking about Germany or Japan.
I'm talking about trying to like okay. So let's look at what Japan did, which I don't know. Japan may not be actually the best example, but because Japan we have had like we've been pretty heavy-handed on Japan for a long time. But for the sake of an example, Japan was. I mean, Japan's got a really interesting history too, so there's also that. But Japan went from, in the span of 100 years to, span of 150 years, they went from a feudal nation to one of the world powers and fighting in like the largest war on earth.
Well, that was from like a really strange set of coincidences. It's because they were isolated for so long, and there were enough colonial powers. They were an island nation, like any other country could have done it.
We were the ones who expressed our will on them. We literally showed up in their ports after they said we don't want to deal with outsiders. We showed up in their ports with warships and said you're gonna fucking trade with us and you're gonna like it, and then.
This is the free market, bitch. You can freely enter it, or you can get fucked.
So then they did that, right? And and to Japan's credit, like it's actually a really interesting story because Japan went, like I said, they went from a feudal.
Yeah, I know about the Meiji Restoration.
So they went through the Meiji Restoration, and then they ended up by the 1940s. Obviously, they were like one of the world powers, and then after that, it was like such a fucking crazy like collapse of their society that happened within like not once but like 3 different times. Their society like completely collapsed and had to restructure itself, and all 3 times it was around Western ideals. And what ended up happening was they went through a lot of turmoil, they went through a lot of shit, and that's what we're doing. And we're seeing the same thing happen in like South American countries where they'll embrace like dictatorships and shit because we impose it. We don't try to support them. We don't try to like educate them. What we do is we tell them how to run their countries. And I don't think that's
you instead want to basically like teach them like instill them with axioms that will just make you do your will. Like instead of you being like knowing where you're being controlled, it's subconscious. You have no like when you talk about education.
I don't know if I would phrase it that way, but like
I know you wouldn't phrase it this way. This is all game narrative. Like and also you kind of like you view this in the scope of I don't know. I probably derailed the conversation so much.
So I want to point out one thing, and then we're gonna do the last 2 libertarian memes, and then I guess on this stream we get bullshit about whatever. But like people like Esther, I think are like super interesting if you know how to listen because you learn so much, right? Like I actually didn't realize the value of narrative like until dealing with like trad people on distributist server.
Yeah.
Because one of them just never shut the fuck up about narrative. Like when I try and talk about like abortion or something. And sorry, I mean this in a nice way. I'm not trying to like, take you down or anything. Like they give away the game if you're willing to listen, because like they're projecting like the thing that they like value, which is like making sure that their narrative is the one that's believed and like not giving you any ground to portray your narrative. Like
yeah, because they're honest, you're not. That's the big difference.
No, here's the thing. Wait, this is the funny part though. Like I didn't realize like the value of like narrative storytelling in this respect and how much that is important to people's worldviews, which is something they understood. But I only realized that like, oh, like using narrative in order to like convince people to like your political side or whatever is a very effective means. But the only reason I realized that is because like this guy just couldn't let it go. Like when I would frame something in a way that upset the fuck out of him, he would lose and be like, "You're not giving in to your liberal narrative." Like he would go nuts about it.
You see, the difference with him is he is able to see the narratives where they start, and he's sort of beyond the narrative. You literally believe the narrative. You can't get beyond it. And that's the funny thing, and that's why it gets so frustrating.
Listen, we're talking about like trad Catholics who like believe the Bible.
Exactly,
the Bible
they're literally like
they ain't beyond any narrative. They're stuck on a narrative from 2,000 years ago on repeat.
Exactly, because it works, because it is the narrative. It's the truth. It's the narrative.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on like how you define like works though. Like it works in the sense that it's been beneficial to a very selected group of people, but we're entering a point, or we've been at a point for a while now where the narrative that just benefits like a selected group of people isn't going to work, and it's not going to carry us.
So how does the tradcath narrative not work for like I agree with the trad, like the e-trads, like their narrative.
You're just using the capitalist argument of like, well, it works, right? Like it works right now. It's like, well, yeah, everything worked until it stopped.
I'm not making that argument. Like I'm not saying that it's like the best system we got. So we should stand by it.
Well, no, it's not all I'm saying. They're saying like, well, I guess it sort of is it, but it's sort of like the point I was trying to make is like they're arguing that like, oh, like this thing's working right now, therefore it's going to work in perpetuity. But it's like every system worked until it didn't work, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like for all we know, in 500 years, Catholicism is dead. Like we don't know that. Like obviously, that probably won't be true.
We'll talk about hopefully we'll talk about Catholicism like we talk about fucking Norse myth, like the Norse mythos.
Yeah, like it could fall.
Oh
into,
no,
like,
man, we're gonna stick around. We're gonna stay as a thorn in your side. You'll kill us, and we'll always come back, right?
Well, Esther,
there's that
fucking conservative persecution complex coming through, baby.
It's true though. It's true, and you know it's true though. Like.
What,
Esther, we're gonna put you all into we're gonna put you into education camps.
I don't. Yeah, you don't want to kill Catholics. You want Catholics to kill themselves. It's a very
I mean, are you saying that I want people to like literally off themselves, or I want people to educate themselves out of a 2,000-year-old doctrine?
Like there's
no difference.
I know you don't like you believe that you're literally offing people, but that is what you're doing. But
killing their ideas, you kill them.
I'm literally not doing that.
It's the exact opposite of like V for Vendetta. If you kill an idea, you kill the person. The ideas don't live forever.
It's not that I believe it. It's that when you say that I'm literally offing people by trying to get people to relinquish their dumb, stupid ideology is literally killing them. It's not. You can say I'm metaphorically killing them.
This is the meme of the French Revolution.
I might disagree.
We're going to liberate these people from religion. We're going to liberate these people from like evil monarchy. Oh,
I don't think. Now you're too obsessed with narrative. I'm not talking about liberating people. I'm just talking about like a society that is at least educated enough to acknowledge that we've moved on past Bronze Age myths.
Okay,
that's it.
Let's just get to this, right? Like you would agree generally, like lefties are pretty like aware to this. You would agree that in many circumstances, truth is just an exercise of power. That if you have power, that you can exercise the narrative.
Well, we would probably distinguish between truth and like the thing that you can make people believe is true, which I don't think you distinguish. Is that correct?
No, I think like what do you mean? They are ultimately the same thing. Like this is
like I said, you don't distinguish the two, so the answer would just be yes to that.
I guess so. What I mean is, I do have this like concept of actual truth, but I view it more as like a. What I view it as the expression of the ultimate power of the universe that like us as humans can never like succeed. So like as powerful as a human is, they'll never be able to master the like nature of the universe. So in that case, yeah, I guess I do believe it.
Okay, so it pisses me off, but I'm going to use the dumbass Sam Harris example from the stupid fucking Sam Harris-Jordan Peterson conversation, which they're both stupid and we're talking past each other. But, like, the idea that, like, the thing can be true, and, like, whether or not the knowledge of knowing that thing is true or not. Like, let's say the example I think he used was, like, let's say there's a virus that, like, has this genetic makeup. You can, like, objectively know how to make this virus. And, like, we have to have a word for, like, your knowledge of, like, what this thing can do and what it is. And a separate thing for, like, whether or not people, like, understand or appreciate that the thing can exist, and if it's good to know that that thing exists. Like, these are two separate ideas we need to distinguish. And, like, you're slamming them into one and just saying, like, whatever helps us survive for longer is what's true, irrespective of some, like, sort of objective sense of truth.
I completely disagree with you. I literally did say that I believe in that, like, objective baseline reality that you're describing, and that, like, the truth is something to seek in and of itself.
But you said, hold on, I must have.
I said that in the sense that, like, if we look at this actual truth,
well, you're saying the narrative is just like whoever can force their will and make you, like, know it, and, like, truth.
Yeah,
in that respect
like in the moment, yeah, like
truth.
in any kind of cultural zeitgeist. Let's use the term you did, right? You've talked about it with me. In any cultural zeitgeist, you're going to have the power and the force of the society on top of you, and it's going to be almost impossible to determine what is real and what is just the power at bay, like the actual force.
Yeah.
And then when you know that, and when you know that there is an officially wrong position, so there's to say, like, proven by the experts that there is in a wrong position, and that's of course the right-wing position. Like, that doesn't make you wonder. You just accept that. Like, I can't.
Well, no, I don't like accept.
I don't
any
just
of these
no. I don't just
default.
accept. That's the difference. Is, like, I don't accept any of those claims. Like,
no, that's what you mean by when you say we need to educate these people. It's like we need to,
because education.
I need to listen to
positively with the it's not that I think that like my way is right because it's what I believe. It's that's what the data suggests is true.
All right, and so the problem is that this, like, what you're describing is the same kind of complex that's happened throughout history with religious texts. And this is going to be the meme of progressivism. Religion. I don't know if this is, like, it's not really comparable. Religion is a very limited word. Like, it's just the confines of our language. But if you were in any given society and you were reading any kind of, like, authoritative text, and the authoritative experts, they would use because we had axiomatically accepted in society that say something like religion is fundamentally important, or like a fundamentally accepted axiom, the same way we have science fundamentally accepted axiom.
True, but you're talking about like mainly points in time where you had predominantly illiterate like lower classes that made up the majority of the population, and were reliant on the upper classes to educate them. We're not taught. We don't live in that time anymore.
This is another thing. This is like the huge devaluation of the intelligence and education of a lot of these peasants. They weren't, like, dumb people, or they weren't.
No, I'm not saying they were dumb, but they were illiterate. And they did, like, this was a huge
just as the proles are currently illiterate in, like, the notion of, like, how do I put this? They were illiterate in like, say just written language, but they also were not. They were literate in, like, social concepts and wisdom.
Sure.
So,
but the problem is when you're social. Well, like, okay, so, like, in like medieval England, before Alfred the Great, like, encouraged the translation of the Bible into Old English. You wanted to translate it from Latin into Old English so everybody could read it. You're talking about periods in time where they were reliant on people dictating their values to them. And
how is that different here? We have people, the scientists, who are dictating their objective.
Scientists don't dictate our values.
So what you get is you have people with, and this is the general, like, esoteric right understanding of it, is that you have individuals who all have their own biases, and that all their biases are similarly aligned. And when they come up with something that's contradictory to that, everybody else goes against that single person and creates the solid narrative. And, like, it's not this I guess divinely inspired thing. It's sort of like it's a consensus.
Okay, all right. Here's if I can, like, because we were talking about, like, flat earthers earlier a little bit, and so let's say that the outsider in this example is somebody who believes the theory, and the culture is the people that say, no, it's not. It's round. We know it's round. We have demonstrable proof that it's round.
are you saying like what you're saying to me? Like we're getting more and more towards that point when we're talking about social narratives, and less, and more and more away from like religious truths.
All right.
Religious
Actually, So no, I think they are, because if you're in any given society, you would not be able to tell the difference between truth and reality. I mean, truth and religion. So, like, religion and reality are the same thing.
I think that depends entirely on like on your level of education and your ability to process new information.
I completely disagree. Like a lot of the historical writings we do have, they were all most of them were religious. Like very few. Maybe if you're like a Platonist.
But that's because religious, mostly like monks were like in older societies were like the only people who could write.
Okay. I'll actually, that's a good point.
So I mean,
but in the same way, like, could this not apply like to what you're describing here? The people who have the authority to write authoritative texts are in a sense monks.
Because we live in an unprecedented time for knowledge right now. You can go out and you can, if you really want to put like science, like if let's like for example, like you're talking about like authoritative text. I was talking about this earlier. I'm a paleontology enthusiast. I love reading scientific papers about paleontology. If I want, and I'm considering doing it, to go to school and learn about paleontology and learn how to really interpret this kind of stuff for myself so I understand it even more, I can do that. And not only to understand it more, but get to the point where I can make authoritative claims on stuff like that.
Okay, so that the argument though is that when you imbibe the current like zeitgeist, the narrative, you believe it to many extents because it's very subtle. It's like built up over time. And so when you're finally in the authoritative position to write things authoritatively and investigate things authoritatively, what happens is if you come across one contradictory piece of evidence that could you now threaten an entire group of people whose positions are entirely built upon that precedent. So, like, if you deviate from that, you run the risk of somebody, completely blowing you out of the water.
Okay, because we actually run into this all the time in the scientific community, and it's really interesting. The scientific community is actually a really great microcosm of testing this. In the scientific community, when you come up with contradictory information or somebody presents a contradictory hypothesis to the established norm, what's done is that's tested. In paleontology specifically, there's been a great debate for the last 10 years or so about whether or not a specimen called Nanotyrannus is a valid genus. And it's been heavily debated in the paleontology community about whether or not this Nanotyrannus was a valid genus, its own species, or if it was just a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex. Most experts at this point now agree that it was a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex. In fact, that is the overwhelming narrative. But there was a really big debate, even though that was contradictory information based on what we knew before. And I can point to multiple examples of this just in paleontology alone. Science is one of the best ways of arriving that we've found of arriving at as close to an absolute truth as you can get.
Now you're just like doing the meme of the consensus, but
no, I'm not.
Yeah,
it's
what
not
do
the
you
meme.
mean?
you are.
This isn't the consensus. This is testable and verifiable information. Like it's not like when you're talking about the consensus, it's the consensus insofar as this has been demonstrated to be the most accurate view of reality.
Well, this is actually another thing. The social sciences have the least there's a huge crisis in social science. Maybe I'm just repeating a conservative narrative,
The
but
replication crisis.
There's a serious replication issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as they make it out to be, but it does exist, and they're working on it.
Yeah, but that's the great. But again, you're just strengthening my opinion of science because science constantly seeks out how to improve its own ways of testing, not just the world around it, but itself.
It constantly especially when you're talking about things that are like very, very precedent to the way that we function on a day-to-day basis. And like, imagine if you're a scientist, right? And you have something that gives you more power. Like so say for instance, let's do race and IQ. Say that you're white, and you realize that you have power in your scientific position to say that brown people are inferior. Now, if we look at that, right, you have a vested interest to keep the consensus in favor of white people being superior.
Yeah, but
if the entire
why that's not the overriding narrative anymore, though.
Yeah, I do. No. I think the reason why is I'm not going to get into that, but
No,
My
no, no.
point,
You
though-
brought it up. It's because it was demonstrably untrue.
No,
That's why.
I think there were definitely people who like demonstrably like definitely fought to keep that like narrative in power.
fought
Like
to
the
keep
guy like
narrative
with the
in
twin
power,
studies,
but
he
that doesn't. But the reason that they didn't succeed is because they were wrong. Demonstrably, like again, this isn't like.
But we could say this with
This
any
is
kind
this
of
is
no,
this
no,
no no
dude.
no no because this is like what this is where I like where like my like interest in science just starts to override my my ability to be nice. But you're arguing that some people can be right about 2 + 2 = 5. That's what you're arguing.
No,
But-
I'm not. So
Yes,
they
yes,
can
you
be
are.
right
You're-
through power, but that doesn't make it absolutely right.
But but in science, right through power doesn't exist. There is no such thing as right through power. In science, you are right because you are able to demonstrate that you are correct. You have the most consistent model for, or you have the model that is most consistent with reality.
The problem is if we were to go for like any kind of like scientific theory in the past, we would come out like how absolutely silly a lot of these models were.
Sure.
Yeah, but but the point is, they have the capacity to make those corrections. Like, one of the first memes like you tried to like get me with was how, oh, did you know that like race realism was initially like a liberal thing? And I'm like, yes, I did know that.
No, I didn't do that meme. What I was trying to get across was explaining to you like the gradual evolution explanation to where we are right to this current claim. What started with, and let's explain this very clearly, right? What started with there is when Enlightenment thinkers broke away from the church, they immediately, once they knew that they could claim that we weren't all descended from Adam and Eve, started saying that brown people were not actually fully human. That's what they started to do.
Yeah, they tried to justify the racism that exists in their culture, and guess what? Over time, we're able to correct their
what I'm
flawed
trying to say is that it's very possible that like once you've taken away an axiom that was necessary to sustain order.
But what order was because the Enlightenment thinkers that, like you said, broke away from the
not
church.
not exploiting.
They didn't break away from the church and then like establish a
but
slave
slavery
state.
existed. Like it existed by the. Do you think the church endorsed slavery all that time? It's not like Enlightenment thinkers broke away from the church and were all of a sudden like, oh, you know what? Now we can get away with enslaving people. No, enslaving people was just part of the culture.
I'm not saying it was used to it. No, that was my point. They were enslaving every kind of people back then.
Okay.
In every different country. So
it doesn't. I don't.
No,
it's not better or worse than the other.
No,
trade existed like before the Enlightenment. Like.
All right, this is such a meme, dude. Like I can't.
It did. The point is, like, actually, like, ironically, you're proving like our point, right? Like you're arguing that like that they left the church and then became bad hombres. But like what we're saying is like, yeah, they can't escape that social zeitgeist that they were born into, right? They were born into a society that had a rigid social hierarchy. So they viewed their Enlightenment views of how we can engage in the scientific method, thinking they could abstract themselves and prove these things objectively, not realizing that their ability to like do this research was guided by these bias, or was largely guided and biased by these preconceptions they went into it with. But because they engage in the scientific method, we're able to rebuild these experiments afterwards.
The social zeitgeist prevented people from taking advantage of those power discrepancies that were like the reason why the power hierarchy existed was because there was some natural discrepancy that caused it. And when you have like let's just say that the religious teachings are arbitrary, right? When you have arbitrary things that are enforcing order, that prevents horrible things that we like, the things that we would understand as horrible from like descending. That there is some arbitrary limit on what we can do and how we view people.
Well, but you're unironically just making the fucking Dark Knight argument of like, well, yeah, the bad thing that we do on purpose is better than the bad thing that we don't mean to do. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think that this is arbitrary. I think that there is some like overarching authority to it. Like if I didn't believe that, I'd just be a lefty, like for utilitarian purposes.
So okay, because
that's epic, bro.
And here's the problem though, because if you just believe that there is some sort of overriding authority, then because you think that would fundamentally change your worldview, then or not fundamentally change your worldview. Obviously, it would fundamentally change your worldview, but fundamentally change your worldview in a way that you feel is worse, then you just don't have a very high opinion of yourself, to be honest. Like,
This like a personal insult or something?
No, it just sounds like if God didn't exist, who would stop or who would tell us to not like rape and shit?
Yeah, this is how a lot of lefties feel. Like this is why a lot of them are depressed, and that's why they're lefties. I mean, you're actually making my point now.
I'm not a lefty because I don't believe in God. No.
No, what I think you're a lefty is because you are congealing to, like, I think that you are genuinely, like, let's just assume right now. I'm going to assume the best for you. You might, like, you genuinely, like, want to do the best for people. And you see a system and structure that helps you or tells you that in order, from authoritative consensus, that if you do these things, you will produce a good outcome and that people will get better because of that. That's what I believe, and that's the framing that you've sort of been told. Now, this isn't like a conscious effort to wipe out like good people or bring about a new world order. This is just the kinds of weird power vacuums that get filled in human society. Like when we got rid of religion, we didn't actually remove that power vacuum. It just filled in another area.
But religion is still what? No, religion isn't gone. Like the majority of Americans are still religious.
What do you mean? We have separation from church and state, and
yeah,
we freak out and we freak out and we complain and we stop. You don't let me finish. You don't let me finish.
Right.
Well, we have separation from church and state, and we scream and people scream at the top of their lungs, like literally, like they think that like evil people are in power when they do something religious, and like they use that example of like the little baseline bit of religion in the.
This is my problem because like I don't think that separation of church and state hang on, let me start over. When the reason like I get upset that like you basically have to endorse a religion in order to be in a position of power is because that means that my personal view at the very least of just like strictly just like atheism and like just atheism is not being accurately represented. That sucks, and it shouldn't be the case. My problem isn't that I think that religious people are inherently more corrupt or inherently whatever. It's that the mere fact that you basically have to say you believe in God you have to be religious in order to hold a position. And let's be clear, you have to be Christian or Catholic, and mainly Christian.
No, dude, no.
Yes, you do.
What do you no?
How many atheist presidents have there been?
Publicly 0, but that doesn't mean that that's what
That's literally the
point. No, this is what I mean. It's like yeah, okay. You might be Christian, but it doesn't mean that you believe. You might like passively be a theist, but you're also like fucking Monica Lewinsky.
I don't believe that Donald Trump gives a shit about God.
I'm talking about most of the presidents, dude. Like this is such a straw man. Maybe you do actually believe this. I don't know.
It's not a straw man.
Wait, just to clarify, I'm assuming that your profile picture and name are ironic.
They are ironic because like JKR showed me what is it, a documentary about flat earthers, and I was like, to be honest, I understand that they're completely wrong, but I have a lot more sympathy for them, and it's like I love the proles. I'm going to be like the proles. Gotcha. Solidarity with our evangelical brethren.
He's lying. He just wants to normalize the ideas because he's too scared to just say it full-throatedly.
What do you mean?
I think. Well, actually, it's a cover up. He hates blind people. Actually, that's what. Yeah, just accuse him of racism.
Listen, they have the mark of the devil on them. Okay, it's not his fault. He just
what
has
are you
two
talking
eyes
about, man? What are you talking
narrative,
about, man?
Right?
I love this chocolate waifus.
You know why I don't talk about religion on stream?
Because it always turns into a shit show.
Because it is yes, that is one. 2, it's boring as fuck for the audience. They just sit there and they're like, wow, look at these two people who think that they're so fucking smart that they can have the conversation that as a species we've been having for the last fucking 10,000 years, and somehow they're going to add something new or convince the other side of something that they didn't already know.
I gotta masturbate my brain has somehow.
It actually definitely feels like that, yeah.
I do genuinely enjoy having the conversation, but I understand your point. Like, it's boring as shit to listen to. So sorry about that. Sorry that
people just kind of fall where they may, based on usually limited amounts of data. So an atheist, why are you? Hey, buddy, you're streaming. You're stalking of me. Okay,
dude,
it's very concerning.
I'll do it.
Okay. Anyways, look. The thing is, like most atheists and most people who are religious don't really have that much knowledge in the first place when it comes to this. They don't really have a way to justify their worldview. They just came to it pretty simply. Like it was an easy decision for them.
I don't know. Maybe I'm taking that a little too personally, but I feel like I
Well, maybe you're not most people.
So,
Maybe you're
wait,
special.
Internet,
Blitz.
you like a
I
libertarian?
am special. I went from a hardcore materialist to like a Catholic like pretty quickly.
I don't know. I was like
What did you say, buddy?
I went from a hard. I used to be a hardcore materialist.
Somebody said my.
No, I was asking no, I was just asking what's your like political affiliation generally. Like, well, I see like the socially conservative, economically left wing. Is that like libertarian? Or?
He's not Nazgul, okay?
I can't hear you.
I'm a moderate.
I can't see you. You were holding the book right now because I don't know if you're memeing or about.
I'm a moderate statist, so I would say that I'm not too fond of libertarians.
Okay. Oh man, damn! We should really go back to roasting libertarians then.
Well, I hate them, so.
Where did this conversation derail?
No. Yeah, what's funny is this whole thing started with us making fun of libertarians.
Yeah, me and JK.
Oh, I read it backwards. I'm an idiot.
And then I came on with my ADHD, and I was like, you know what?
No, you. Honestly, like it was good for a while there, and then like eventually we started talking. It was when we started talking about international politics, and that's like what somehow ended up derailing us.
Oh yeah, because
religion.
Because now we've deviated into the axiomatic area, where
we're trying to derive which one of us like you. I'm assuming you believe that there is a truth, but that you feel like it's more dictated by the cultural zeitgeist. Is that like what you were?
No, I think that there is an actual truth, but that like most people in a society are not going to be able to know what it is or like accurately assess it. Like I don't think I even like touch the truth. I just think I see it like in a very foggy haze.
Esther, I think we can all agree we need to get back to basics culturally, which is fundamentally what all human beings are surrounded.
Return to monkey.
Yeah, return to monkey.
Wait, no, it's dunking. It's dunking on libertarians. It was what the world, human civilization was founded upon, and it's that which unifies us all. Okay.
I unironically had a conversation with a minarchist on stream, and I didn't know he was a minarchist. He asked to have a conversation with me, and I didn't do any research on him because I didn't really care. But I said, sure, I'll talk to you on stream. And it was this black 20-year-old dude who like spoke very eloquently and like had a lot of sources, but like it was all circular. It was like, well, what about John Locke and Renax? What about John Locke? And like, I don't care. I don't care about John Locke. Things change. Crazy, right?
Me and GKR were talking about that earlier. How like libertarians will make like actually okay claims, and then they'll just use that to justify everything else. And then when you try to break it down on that, they'll go back to the original claim. And then they'll go back into like the government bad, less spending, more free market. They don't like it's just
apparently the only thing that matters is that we have more choices in life because humans are really we function really well when we're given infinite amount of choices. Ooh. That's true. Actually, no, there's actually research on this that shows that like people are more happy when they have less choices.
I guess that's kind of that we're going to get into a philosophical conversation real quick, but I guess that kind of makes you ask like whether or not like is happiness like more important or is freedom more important? Like,
well, I think meaning is more important.
Really? Like
I think meaning is more important than freedom.
Is it because you think that no. Put my foot down. Let's roast libertarians. Because I'll get into that, but
listen, we have two more categories left. We have poverty and trade and immigration.
All right. I'm sorry.
So we're looking at
I came in here to farm subscribers for my YouTube channel, and it worked.
So. Dude, you got +1 for me, buddy.
I know.
I was I recognize the ridiculous outfit, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude. See, it's working for me too. Let's see. Have I got any more subscribers while this has been going on? Let's find out.
There we go. Subscribe.
Dude, I got 2 more. Fuck yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
So you hijacked my desire to farm more subs, and instead you got more subs.
No, it's smart. You just go into every Discord server and you pretend that you're somebody. Like, haha, look at me. Yeah, I might only have 900 subscribers.
I did recognize the first thing I did before you saw me stalking you on the thing was I saw the profile picture. I'm like, I recognize that jackass wrapped in an American flag from the thing.
I was gonna say I've seen you on I don't know how many Hippy Dippy podcasts at this point now. So
yeah, and you haven't subscribed to me. See, this is the problem with Hippy Dippy. No, this is the actual problem. That's why I stopped going
Dylan
on.
is the only person that I'm subscribed to on Hippy Dippy. All right,
I'm just saying that once my returns started going down, I was like, I lost a follower one time on Hippy Dippy. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm done. I can't. It's too much.
He's small too.
I was grinding so hard. Like I was getting like 10 followers a day, and I was streaming 4 hours every single day of the week. Plus I was doing panels. Plus I was doing like going on other people's streams randomly. So spending like probably 8 to 10 hours a day every single day on streaming and seeing nothing for it.
Yeah.
I'm much more healthy now.
Well, that's good. Hey, man, like you said, like, I guess, do you feel like you have meaning?
Do I feel like I have meaning?
Yeah. So meaning is most important, so.
The meaning in my life is striving for the meaning. So I would say yes.
Fair enough. Is looking for meaning a meaning in and of itself?
Yes.
You know what's funny? Before I looked at like your Twitter page, my question after hearing you say like 6 things, I was like, I wonder if this guy's a little fashy. And then like the first thing you have is like Endermax getting called a Nazgul for the 54th time this week. Now I was like, I was gonna ask if he was a fascist, but apparently everyone asked if he's a Nazgul.
I've seen him on enough panels to know he's a fucking huge meme lord. So that's why I was like, is he holding the book?
There's
I don't know.
like.
I don't know if he's memeing.
Oh, the book. Yeah, that's fucking funny. No, I just look. Sometimes I take extreme positions and I go crazy for entertainment. But like, if I'm just having a conversation with people, generally I don't bring out the "we need to give billionaires CIA handlers," line. That's like, yeah.
I think Dylan was Dylan was right. Like your memes are really funny, but there are times where I'm like, I don't know if he's joking or not. Oh,
dude, that's the ultimate meme, though.
Oh shit!
Those are the most annoying people to talk to when they meme super hard, and you're like, yo, I can't tell if the meme is covering up a genuine belief or is it a real meme. And that's what Esther gets mad at me about.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear. Okay. It depends. So like when I say that billionaires,
does it?
When I say that billionaires deserve CIA handlers, I genuinely do believe that. Like I actually hate billionaires, but and this
why would they deserve? Hold on, what am I missing here? Why would they want CIA handlers? What does that mean?
Because we can't trust them.
So you realize they just buy out the CIA, right? Like you'd only give them an opportunity.
Oh no. Then we just kill them. I mean that's like death penalty.
Yeah, but you're relying on the CIA to kill the people who just
Sure. I mean obviously look, listen. In this hypothetical framework, we would need to reform the CIA to be trustworthy. Sure. Now that being said, I wouldn't actually advocate for billionaires getting CIA handlers. Instead, I think a much more practical approach would be to have some sort of moderate wealth tax and use that to fund some sort of social program that I support, like maybe a civil service. There you go. That's like I would never advocate for that position, just be like in practice, because it's so out there and fringe that it would never gain prominence and it would never matter. So I'm very my actual political opinions are very practical, even though I might believe something that I say that seems memey.
I get what you mean. Like sometimes you're just like, no, I genuinely believe that, maybe we just guillotine all these motherfuckers.
Well, I wouldn't guillotine them.
That's not practical.
I wouldn't guillotine them.
I'm a little bit more hardcore.
I would just be like completely honest with them and say, listen, you exist in a land of opportunity, a land of great wealth, and you have been abusing our system to garner insane amounts of wealth. We're going to tax you, and if you try to avoid that tax or offshore your tax, you're going to lose your life.
Yeah. There's a cool thing I came across. I was listening to a podcast with some science fiction author, and he talked about how we can use basically blockchain in conjunction, like a blockchain oriented or centered monetary system. And that way when billionaires try and hide their wealth, like if we can't track it, we just go, oh, well, that don't exist anymore. And we just invalidate that money. And I was like, yo, that's such a great idea. I was like, wait, that's awesome. Where like you use the government as like the centralization of the currency. And then like when you're not paying your taxes and you're fucking off and you're trying to bring it to other places, like, oh, just yeeted that out of existence. Get fucked. I was like, that's so smart. Using it for using the power of blockchain for good and not just, buying children off of Wayfair.
Yeah, not just, anarcho-capitalist nonsense.
Let's roast some libertarians.
All right. We're doing let's do trade and immigration. What are the predictions? What's Joe Jorgensen's position on trade and immigration?
Free trade,
free immigration. In fact, she wants to literally get fucked by China.
I want the United States to
do we think she just wholeheartedly embraces China? Like China's our friend, not our adversary, because they give me cheap iPhones?
Yep.
Do we go full? Okay. Hold on. I gotta come up with what's the good take? Trade and immigration. I don't know. I can't think of anything super creative on this one. I'm gonna go with the cucked by China, letting we want cheap iPhones. The freedom to trade and travel is fundamental to human liberty. As American citizens, we should be free to travel anywhere we choose and buy and sell anywhere in the world. As president, I will use my constitutional authority to eliminate trade barriers and tariffs and work to repeal arbitrary quotas on the number of people who could legally enter the United States to work, visit, or reside. Dude, anarcho fucking borders? Okay, it's a little weird. Wasn't expecting that to go full board.
No, libertarians are always like very.
Yeah, libertarians are usually open.
Well, I've never seen like the full like we're just gonna eliminate quota. Well, okay, I guess you said liberty arbitrary quotas. All right, maybe that's not full open border. That's just like eliminate caps, I guess.
I don't know. What,
yeah, you like for you want limitations, like limitations. You just want it from like European countries, and I agree with you. I do. I
All right, let's look for the China memes here. She doesn't even. How the fuck you talk about trade and immigration and not address China? Like, I thought you were running for president, not like dog catcher. Like, what the fuck is this shit? You don't mention the country we're having a trade war with.
They're a meme. They're a meme party. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Like, they might as well be running for dog catcher.
To somehow manage to get less votes if they did that, it'd be incredible. Like as a percentage basis. All right, poverty.
Really
okay.
like dogs.
Okay, what's the over under on her mentioning the Great Society Initiative? I'm thinking 60% chance it's mentioned.
I'll say
Dude, it's 100% like we tried these welfare programs. Like, sure, JFK got shot.
I'll say 70%.
It's got to have it, right? Like that's the whole libertarian meme that like welfare programs don't work. You see how like Lyndon B. Johnson tried doing it and then it failed. It's like, yeah, because there were like 30 years of Republicans after that. But I guess we're gonna pretend that doesn't exist because it's inconvenient. All right, let's do it. Great Society? No, what's it called? War.
I don't know. She's not gonna say it like that.
War on poverty.
War on poverty is like right there.
Well, after the war on poverty was fully implemented in the early 70s, progress stopped.
Oh, we hit that one on the head. It feels good.
That's like right there. You love to see it happen.
Oh man, I didn't even. It took me longer to control F than it would have just to like write the fucking.
The real cure for poverty is a vibrant economy that generates plentiful jobs and high wages. Wants to remove the minimum wage, by the way.
Yeah. Good name. Good meme. It's always such a good. Give me those.
Why are we even dunking on libertarians? Like they don't even exist in politics.
Whoa! To be fair, this started as just me.
Well, wait.
They are talking about libertarians for.
There's a lot of fucking idiot libertarians who've been brainwashed in the Republican Party. Like they don't even know that they're not libertarians, but they think they're libertarians.
Wait,
and that's the talking points.
What did I say earlier, GKR?
Hell yeah,
the only difference between a fucking libertarian and a conservative is that a conservative has a spine to say that they're a conservative. Libertarians are fucking gutless. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, they're making their comeback. You know, now that Joe Biden's going to be president, they're like, guys, let's talk about the deficit. How scurry it is. Sure, let's ignore that. Like Trump was running $1 trillion deficit for like I don't know, like 3 years or whatever. That was no big deal. But
Trump's not a conservative, you know.
Well, yeah, but they didn't give a shit then. That's the point. But all of a sudden, they're like, guys, wait, hold on. Now that a Democrat's president, like we can't have nice things.
No, but the companies in the military-industrial complex can have nice things.
Exactly. Just switch up what you say whenever somebody you don't like is in power. It's okay when the good people are in charge. It's bad when the bad people are in charge.
True.
Corporate feudalism, baby.
This is why we need to bring back. We need to have a parliament. Fuck our system.
Yeah. Are you like a parliamentarian? I personally think a parliament would
I prefer it. People can have their niche political parties and they can actually have some sort of relevant power in the form of a coalition government.
Yeah, I used to be against the parliamentary system. And the more I think about it, I'm like, it seems okay. But then, like,
no, because then the fascists get their party and they don't resort to violence.
Dude, that was my exact argument. Like, I unironically want there to be a Nazi party because it's like, at least they won't try and hijack the Republican Party for 40 fucking years.
But they're also like everybody knows what they are and they can't get shit done. So
I think if you got the Nazi part, like an actual Nazi party, they just disband because they discover they like brown women. It's very clear.
they all join
there. It's Jewish BBC cuckold porn that's being forced on them, dude.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's actually the opposite. It's like when they get off porn, they find out the only women who are off porn and also trad is like the brown people.
Wait, that's actually or Asian people.
You know what would be great? You know how
Asians are pretty much white at this point. No, I wouldn't really call them the same.
You know, like Wikipedia reports like the congressional offices are editing the
I got one of the few white girls left, you know. Listen, this is still a meme. This is still like a meme position because, in all actuality, and I tell a lot of young people this that young people. I'm young. I don't know, but like people who are younger than me who are like, oh, I'm never gonna find a girl who's like traditional and isn't a whore and goes out to clubs and like does all this shit. I'm like, listen,
bro, they're missing the best that the world has to offer. That's what I'm saying. The virgins I had sex with were the worst.
Listen, if you want to be with a girl that has similar values to you and is traditional or like not somebody who's going to go out and drinking every night, which is something I prefer. I don't like going out and drinking, so I don't want my woman to do that. But anyways, I tell them just go to church. Like find a conservative church community. There are girls there, and there are good traditional girls there. You will find them.
Well, no.
You're just not going to church.
This is the girl pill, and it's ultimately true.
Ender, you got to adopt the Southern strategy, okay? You just grow your own pussy, okay? You just find one of those whores. You just knock it up, and then you just start fucking your offspring, okay? That's the Southern. God. That's the Southern. That's how you find virgins. You don't find them.
That is
you
racist
build
against
them.
the Appalachian people.
I said
actually wait.
Oh, did I say
I'm pretty sure
statistically,
they're no more likely to impregnate kin than any other part of the United States.
Don't ruin.
Impregnate. What about fucking them? Okay? Like, are they more likely to?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the one time where the South thinks that birth control is okay. I don't know.
Dude, we hit this one on the head though. She 100% immediately went to the war.
We knew exactly what I was gonna say. I don't know what else to say to it, honestly. Like, I mean.
Is this the whole thing? Highway just going.
Basically, it's literally like I'm skimming through it, and literally all I see is less federal spending.
Yeah, dude, she wants
I'm sorry to derail.
We gotta eat the rich. She got it.
Something is really bugging me. Will one of you please subscribe to my YouTube channel so I go from 899 subscribers to 900?
I'll do you one better. I'll just unsubscribe.
No.
Oh no.
Got him.
All right. Oh, that's good. I don't have to worry about it. Thank you.
You're pretty funny on that sex work stream. I liked it.
Well, thank you.
Wait, were you the guy they were complaining about on here? Hold on.
896. You lost 4 subscribers or 3 subscribers out of that.
Ton. There was someone they made fun of for just like being completely insane. Was that you?
Who?
I don't remember. They said there was someone on the Hippy Dippy who would just make.
I was talking about CTV. I can't. No. I get it. Like the memes are kind of funny in the beginning, but fuck, that guy gets so obnoxious about.
Yeah.
The fact that he's dumb is actually a good thing. I like dumb people.
I don't know. I just like when libertarians, man, when every single argument you make just can be reduced down to government bad.
Exactly.
It's ironic too because they think they're so intelligent that they go, well, the onus is on you to prove the government is good. I'm like, I don't know, like the last 5,000 fucking years of human history and progress. Yeah. Like I don't fucking know, man. Like, what do you want?
It's like the mere fact that this conversation isn't ending with me beating you to death with a stick is like it's like evidence that like
we just need to purge libertarians and our society would actually unironically be better.
Dude, you missed it. We were memeing about Ayn Rand earlier.
Can we guillotine them? I just really want to guillotine.
You know what? Sure. You know, you're ahead of guillotining libertarians, okay? And we'll have some sort of arbitrary, stupid test.
Minecraft. I want to do it in Minecraft.
Like, if they ever ask a question, if you ever ask a question about the age of consent, you're just guillotined.
So this look, you can't Fed post against Vosh, okay?
Can't what?
We can't. You can't threaten to kill Vosh.
Okay. I was gonna say I'm too old. I don't know what Fed post means. So I threatened to like rape him, and I just like
Fed post means you like post stuff that's like intentionally designed to attract.
I've only ever offered to suck Vosh's dick. Okay, I've never threatened him.
So whatever makes you happy, okay.
You just said that you'd like it's time to guillotine anybody who questions the age of consent.
I know, I got it. Yeah. It's on like Memology 101, right? The Vosh needs to be crusaded.
Vosh needs to be crusaded.
Yeah, wait, you haven't seen that video?
I have not, no.
What?
I'm pretty limited on my memes, honestly. I typically just kind of stick to the video.
Wait, did they take it down? What the fuck? Wait, where
did
it go?
I can't actually stand these like more radical conservative types. Like they're just so illogical.
There's nothing worse than crusades except Vosh. Is this one we're looking for? It's on BitChute.
Hey everyone, what's going on?
It should be on Memology 101.
I was going to do a video on...
I don't think it's this.
This guy's just like playing Aladdin, chop people with a sword, just talking about...
It's just a fucking meme. 1 second.
What were you saying there, Esther?
Wait, did Vosh like take the video down? What the fuck?
I forget what I said. Darn. Wow.
Sorry. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I focused on that.
No. What was it? What was something about Vosh? Oh no, I said that I don't. I really don't like these radical conservative types.
Oh.
Like yeah, like memology and I hypocrite. It's just like, well, you're ultimately illogical. You're like trying to use the system of like empiricism that the system of claimed empiricism that like ultimately is stacked against you. Like if you use that, you're going to create an illogical argument.
Oh man, I watched him talk to that stupid fucking vegan. What's his name?
Vegan Gains?
No, the other one. The one whose server I got banned off of, who you got invited. Ask yourself. And like I don't think I watched the whole thing, because in the beginning he's just like, I have my moral beliefs, and then I'm just gonna try and find like a way to justify them. And it's like, ask yourselves like, it's like a bad way to do this.
Wait, they actually took down the video. What the fuck? Dude, what a bitch, dude. Wait, look at this.
He's like, there's gotta be a way to justify the things that I feel. It's just like, alright, well, whatever, fuck it. I guess he owned it. Like, he owned it without realizing he was owning it, and I'm like, you know what, I guess I respect that.
So the problem is, like, originally I fell into the lefty meme that Vosh was just, like, comparing, child abuse to, like, the way we abuse, like, people in, like, mining copper or, like, cacao. But then I realized that he was actually using that to defend meat eating. So his argument, like, for eating meat rests on him being allowed to watch CP. Like, that's pretty disturbing.
Well, you know what they say about men who date fat women?
That's a woman?
Nice. I don't actually know what they say about men dating fat women. I was hoping one of you had a joke, but
I don't think there's anything wrong with dating fat women, so.
well, except for, the cost on society.
I was going to say the cost on health.
Well, yeah, that's a cost on society. Also, she probably would affect your behavior and cause you to be more unhealthy, so.
Well, I would assume that if you're, like, dating a fat chick, you're already fat yourself.
Oh, it's all. I guess that's possible.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of.
I've seen it too.
I've seen a lot of guys who are on. I honestly, I've seen dudes who are like fucking crazy in shape, and they've got a bigger girlfriend. Yeah.
It's funny because I actually recently saw the exact opposite. I was like,
crazy. Oh, dude, women love fucking dad bods.
No, it wasn't the dad bod. It was like
fat?
No, there was this really fat guy, and he like the girl was thick, of course, but she was a nice, like a nice, cute, like Pakistani girl. And this fat, balding, white 20-year-old, like he's obese, and it's just like, wow, that's so aesthetic. It's like take the Packy pill, guys.
Take the Packy pill.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to derail your libertarian hatred.
There was nothing to derail.
This whole conversation has been like one big derail after the other. Even me and GKR were like just bouncing around from reason. Like it was like mini derails, but we were still derailing constantly.
Why did you decide to come into the VC? Just out of curiosity.
GKR was in here, and I jumped in here because there was this fucking guy in good faith too, who's just an outright fascist, and I jumped in voice chat and I was like, "Am I wasting my time with this guy?" And GKR, like,
yeah, the other day I was talking to him and he's just like, "I'm a socialist," and like after saying all like the like, "Hey, dude, but you really like the hierarchies and the bad hombres," and he's just like, I was like, "Are you a fascist?" He's like, "Am I allowed to be a fascist?" I was like, "You are allowed to be a fascist." He goes, "I'm a fascist." I was like, "All right." Wow. What are all these made up places? Like, what the fuck? I'm trying to fill out this fake form on this fucking libertarian website to make fun of them, and I'm like looking for like a state, and I'm like reading all this shit that clearly doesn't exist. Like these are just made up words. I don't believe this. Like,
it's like people who have self-declared states or something like that, probably.
Fucking idiots.
Tom Bombadil, you had to pick the worst Lord of the Rings character.
Dude, that's the point. I want to. Did I? I don't know. I think I just put random shit.
Oh, you did. Oh, you actually put your phone
number. I'm not a fucking nerd, okay? I don't need to spell things correctly.
That's obvious. God. You know how you said you know a lot, like a ridiculous amount about like soda? I know way too much about Lord of the Rings.
Fucking Stephen.
What's your profile icon of?
Hell yeah.
No, Blitz.
What's that?
What's your profile icon of?
It's an Exo from Destiny.
Cool.
It's a what?
An Exo, like a robot that has like a human consciousness in him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I wish that game wasn't so disappointing.
Mine's just a picture I paid some like person in a poor country to make for me on Fiverr, and then he gave me a mustache, even though I don't have one.
Free market, baby.
Bro, these like I initially had this giant handlebar mustache. It's actually fucking incredible. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
GKR, what's your fucking YouTube channel, by the way?
It's in my little profile thing. Like, hold on.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, fuck, I'm an idiot.
Let's see. Can I? It's got to be here. Like, he initially sent me this thing. Like, I sent him a picture. And I was like, yeah, like including like the icon or whatever. Like, just figure it out. It's fine. And he's like, okay, we'll do. And then come on, please work.
You know, let's actually
like
talk about
this is what I initially had, and I'm like, bro. And I was like, yo, can you tone it down on the facial hair?
That looks
I like
rad though, dude. That looks awesome.
Yeah, I look like I'm about to go blow up the British Parliament. Like, what the fuck?
You look like fucking Doc Holliday, dude. You should fucking own that.
Yeah,
shit.
you do look. It does look pretty epic, dude.
Yeah, it looks like the Guy Fawkes mask. Like
Guy Fawkes.
Guy Fawkes. Forks? Am I saying that wrong? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. It sounded like you said forks, and so I interpreted that as like.
How do you say it? I don't even know.
I assume we want to.
Like
I assume we want to help people. Like I know that I'm never gonna get near government, and nor do I think I'll ever do that in my lifetime. Nor do I really want to.
I wouldn't want to fucking be in government.
Yeah, but let's talk about genuine solutions, right? Like, what are we gonna do about poverty, guys?
What are we gonna do about what?
Poverty.
Poverty.
Yeah, like a lot of these people, you can't just train to be in the workforce. Like my solution.
We want to start with an easy question.
No. My solution would be to we get all these people, we put them on some kind of like universal basic income, but force them to do busy work in order to get the money.
Listen, I got a libertarian meme here. We're gonna let the free market create the solution. So we're gonna invest in Soylent Green. That's how we're gonna solve the poor people problem.
All right. So unironically, I've actually thought about this, and I'm not like super versed in economics, so please feel free to tell me like how dumb this is. I really want to see like public work initiatives, like one of the town that I live in. There's like a big problem with like trash cleanup here, not to the point where it's like creating like bad smells or anything, but there's just like kind of trash like more or less like everywhere, and it just makes for like kind of a unpleasant looking place to live. Anyway, I think we should just have like a government initiative that just basically like you pay people, minimum wage. They go around, they pick up trash all day, and that's their job. You get two birds with one stone. You're getting your hometown cleaned up. It's a constant job. There's always going to be trash that needs to be cleaned up, and you're creating like an easy low entry job that people can go.
And then not only that, you're teaching people how to take care of their community.
Yeah, like it inspires like a sense of community in people. So like I like that, like that's not going to solve poverty, but I always thought like I don't like why
let's go even further, right? What if we have like really spiffy uniforms that have to get dry cleaned constantly, and so you don't actually pay for the dry cleaning, but then now you have to hire people to do the dry cleaning.
You want to do like a whole other like another government initiative to do the dry cleaning?
No, like think about it, right? Like you mentioned, like cleaning the trash. You could hire people by giving them jobs by, say, you have the people picking up the trash doing the public service, wear a very spiffy uniform that needs to be maintained, and they have multiple versions of these uniforms handed out by the government. They send it into the government, and then people who now can get jobs cleaning those uniforms. Of course, it's all like at a net loss for the government, but that doesn't really matter. Like,
that's not the point. Yeah, the point is to get people working and making money so they can survive. Like,
yeah. No, I don't care about like the net loss to profit.
Yeah, I'm not as interested in that. I'm more interested in whether or not like that's just improving the general material.
Yeah, we're interested in improving people, not about like the line going up.
Yeah. No, I think that like I mean. No, yeah, it's as like an extension of that initial point. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's like something that will just like crush poverty, but like I think like more stuff like that should be implemented. That way, like you're just like that's something that like anybody can do. Like, I mean, you want to get homeless people working? Fuck, give them a job with or picking up trash.
And then that and like help inform family formation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that's like a bad idea because I don't know like that much about like economics and stuff. But I from like everything I've seen, I think it would be like a pretty sustainable way of people making or like staying employed at a low level.
So you guys are saying we're gonna thumbs down the Soylent solution, huh?
Yes.
Look, I think we can keep it as a backup plan.
Fair enough.
Who are we gonna use to make this Soylent?
So Soylent Green is a movie from like the 80s or something?
Yeah, I've seen just a little bit of it.
Okay, well the idea is that we turn the homeless people into food.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Was it specifically the homeless people in that? Because you and me were talking earlier, and I still think that the old people are the best answer.
I mean, you know,
it's pure protein purified with the passage of time.
Densely overpopulated. Okay, let's see. Actually,
I thought it was
it's
just
actually
like
in the
people who
70s.
died.
In the year 20, the affected population, soil industries, which derive its name from company for soy and lentil.
Lentil.
Lentil soup is fucking good. Can I have some? You guys want to make some lentil soup together?
I also
I'd be
do
down for some
lentils.
lentil soup.
So there's a euthanasia process. So they got to be killing people. Roth is so disgusted with life and seeks the assisted suicide. So I guess it's just people who died that they did it with.
That's what I.
No, they were like plowing the protesters and putting them in the trucks and like grinding them into pieces.
Dude, that's like Tiananmen Square.
I just remember it famously being like one of the worst titles for a movie ever because it just gives away the whole thing.
What, Soylent Green?
Or no, sorry, it wasn't the title. It was like I think it might have been like a poster tagline. It was like Soylent Green is people or something like that, and it just gave away like everything.
People are still the same. They'll do anything to you what they need, and they need Soylent Green.
Maybe it wasn't.
Well, the poster just shows people being.
That is just people being put in fucking, or people in a fucking like fucking front.
It's still a good movie though. Like I knew about the premise before I watched it.
Yeah, I don't think it's like
necessarily. I have never watched it, and I probably never will. Is it good? What are the reviews on this thing?
I mean, it's good in so far as it's like a kind of a out there dystopian.
Dude, Rotten Tomatoes only gives it a 72. It clearly can't be good, yeah.
It can't be that good.
Yeah, I mean, people still talk about it 50 years later, but besides that, like, what is it really got going for it? I mean, Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, that is really that's an achievement in cinema right there. I'm still talking about it 20 years later, that's for sure.
You mean the 80s one, 70s one?
No, he's talking about the fucking
with Matthew Broderick. You don't know about the Broadster? And
he's talking about the Godzilla film.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate Godzilla film.
Oh, I'm thinking of King Kong. Oh my goodness! Like this is my brain. I don't like the tokusatsu.
That's
stuff.
racist against kaiju.
And
what did you guys think of the 2014 one?
Is that the one with the Breaking Bad guy?
It's the one with no, not Breaking Bad. He's the guy that was in Kick-Ass.
What? Wait, Godzilla?
Yeah, Godzilla 2014.
Hold on. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think
something.
Oh, maybe there was one after that.
Well, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston was in it.
Oh, Bryan Cranston. Yeah, the Breaking Bad guy. Fuck, I'm an idiot. He dies so early on that it didn't matter. So I guess
that's true. What's funny is one of those things where they hyped him in the trailer. Like they actually they did the same thing that they did Jeff Goldblum in the second Jurassic World movie. They're like Jeff Goldblum's in it, and it's really him in a hearing that he was like he literally showed up on set for like 20 minutes. It was just like, guys, the dinosaurs, they're bad hombres, and then like that's it, and that's it. Like you guys advertised like Jeff Goldblum was in this movie, and like yeah, you technically you didn't lie to me, but I do feel slightly deceived here.
I think this is actually like my favorite Godzilla film, unironically. This is like so like the director Gareth Edwards is like his ability to capture like scale. I don't think anybody else is like even close to. Like,
I saw this at a drive-in movie theater. It was pretty good.
Oh my God.
Oh, that is actually very aesthetic.
His ability to like make you realize just how massive Godzilla is. Like not just Godzilla. Like he also directed Rogue One, and if there's anything that movie got right was like you get a feel for how fucking big everything is. It's awesome.
So I'm not a huge Star Trek fan, but I saw the one with Rey or whatever, and there was like this scene where like the ship like explodes in space, and like they like back out and like get this wide shot, and like the whole thing goes silent. I saw that in IMAX theater, and I was like, that's a really cool shot. And then I realized like a couple of years later that they stole that from like the what's it called, the pilot to The Expanse, which is such an incredible show.
Oh, I love The Expanse is. Hey, look. Let's be honest. If I'm being honest, though, everything in Star Wars is borrowed from something else. Even the original trilogy, or even fucking A New Hope, is just Akira Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress mixed in with a flavor.
But that's the beauty of it, right? Like what it did is it took things and it made it new and it made it fresh. Whereas opposed to like.
Took familiar things and made them new and fresh.
Yeah, but the sequels, I guess people didn't view it that like I don't know. It's dumb complaining about movies like this.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked the one that GKR was just talking about, the Last Jedi, and I think Force Awakens was okay, but like, man, did they drop the ball with the third one, in my opinion.
I don't like that they recasted Spock. It's kind of rude. Well, after he got crushed by that Jeep in his own fucking yard, you know? It's kind of messed up.
You're talking, Jesus, I don't know.
Poor Anton Yelchin. He just was doing his best.
Even, right? Like, it wasn't Spock. He played Chekhov, but yeah.
Moving a little bit here.
Okay. It was weird because he mixed your memes with a little bit of truth.
Dude, Anton Yelchin is fucking dead, bro.
That was fucking horrible, though. It was so bad. Like, I just remember reading that, and I was like, of all the fucking ways to go out, good lord.
Dude, Alpha Dog was a great movie, though. Where he played that kid who, like, fucked a bunch of stuff and then got murdered by gangsters. That was pretty neat.
I did not see that.
You know, it didn't have good reviews, but I remember I saw it thinking it was, like, a comedy, and, like, it's based on a true story, which I did not know. So, like, this movie, like, it's like, oh, he gets, like, kidnapped, it's kind of a joke, and, like, the kidnappers, like, bring him to a party because, like, his brother owes, like, drug money or something. And then, like, the last, like, 20 minutes of the movie, all of a sudden, like the fucking, like, the penny drops or whatever, and they're like, you gotta go kill this fucking kid. And it's like, wait, what? And then so he gives, like, one of his, like, thugs, like, a fucking, like, MAC-10, and they just drag this kid out to the desert and just fucking execute him. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, it's hardcore. It's based on a true story. Like, because there was, like, 100... I guess I should have gotten the hints, like, along in the movie. They're, like, witness number whatever. So, like, counting up all the witnesses, because this was, like, such, like, a ridiculous thing where they kidnapped this kid, like, yo, we're just gonna like hang out with you. They brought him to parties and he was just like having fun, like whatever, didn't really care, it was supposed to not be a big deal. And then the actual like the leader of like their drug dealing crew or whatever was like, yo, we gotta destroy the evidence, it's apparently a big deal to kidnap a kid. And then their solution was to like kill him with a MAC-10 and bury him in a shallow grave on like a monument in California. And it's like, well, that was not smart. Or a common hiking spot, not a monument. Jesus. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I watched Cabin in the Woods for the first time the other day.
Yo, that movie's fantastic. I also didn't know what I was getting into. I love the Step Brothers dad.
I wish that I hadn't known what I was getting into, but fuck, was it funny. It was still so goddamn funny. Oh my god. The basement crew, holy shit. I don't know that I stopped laughing through like that whole thing. It was the fucking bit where Chris Hemsworth like crawls on his motorcycle and he like gives that heroic speech, and I'm like, no, he's just gonna hit the border, and then he does the jump and just bam.
Oh man, what's funny is like the first time I saw it, I didn't notice like the weird scene where I guess it was like a bird like hits the barrier or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like expecting. I was like, oh, cool, and then he just like fucking just slaps into this thing and just dies.
I knew it. It's funny.
Yo, they killed Thor.
Because I fucking saw the bird. I saw the bird slap into that, and then so he's like getting on his motorcycle, and I'm just like dying of laughter. I'm like, he's just gonna. I know exactly.
Dude, this is like Chekhov's gun. This is perfect.
Oh, it was so good. It was. Oh my god.
One of my favorite like things in the movie. Do you ever see The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and? So there's that moment in the movie where they have like The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, and. Yeah, and I remember thinking, like, I'm like, yo, like, they're in this city, like, this is breaking some realism, like, they're like, aiming for the bush, so I'm like, yo, they're in, like, New York City, like, there's no bushes, and they start playing, there goes my hero, and they just fucking splattered, I'm like, that was incredible. And I was dying laughing for, like, 5 minutes, because in my head, I'm like, this makes no sense, like, I know it's a comedy, but, like, there's no, and then, like, these dudes just fucking eat shit and die,
That was
GKR.
Oh man.
GKR, were you talking about Alpha Dogs?
Yes. Or Alpha Dog is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Alpha Dog. Dude, the crazy guy plays the part super well. I don't know the actor's name.
The brother?
Justin Timberlake's friend. Yeah, the crazy one. He plays that part. Dude, he plays that part so well.
It's been so. I don't know if you're talking about the guy who does the killing or the brother of the kidnapped kid.
The guy that's running with Justin Timberlake. He's in a bunch of different movies. But I don't know his name. He's like a super crazy, whacked out guy.
I'm streaming. Do you see the one I'm showing? Is it this guy?
I don't know. I can't see.
Looks like Tim Pool.
So
you're obsessed with Tim Pool. Stop trying to make it about
Tim
Tim
Pool.
Pool.
Yep, that guy.
I'm not obsessed with. You know what? How can you not resist that beanie?
Yep, that guy.
It's the shine underneath.
All right, there's a delay.
The bald guy.
It's the tinfoil hat. Like we know he's an alien. He's hiding his like alien ears.
There's no bald guy. I'm so confused.
The antenna.
The blonde guy or the dark guy?
No, the one in
the
white shirt
How
on the
else do you
left.
think he gets his visions of the future?
Oh yeah. He's
that guy.
Sometimes you can
he's
see
really
the
good at
antenna
that.
like fluttering underneath when he's got a prediction. It's crazy.
Yeah, guys gotta remember, I don't like Tim Pool. I'm just memeing. Like I
was just joking.
Yeah, the guy on the left, he's super psycho in the film, but he plays it so well.
That's the kid who gets killed. That's his brother in it. That's the one who like owed Emil Hirsch in it. That's who owed him the money. Or that's who he owed money to. So they stole Anton Yelchin and then fucking murdered him.
GKR, are you talking with Destiny today?
No. I mistitled that. That's from like a long time
like,
ago. I was like, yo, I'm tricking peeps right now. Now I tried updating it, so I thought it was just.
How did you bait Destiny into talking to you?
What?
He's friends with Destiny, I think.
Oh, are you? Nice.
Well, it's weird. It's actually like an inverse like parasocial relationship. So I knew him when we were like 14. Like we played StarCraft together for like I don't know, like better part of a decade, I guess. And then he became like semi-internet famous, and I was like, we were doing other stuff, so we drifted apart. So now, like, I watch his content sometimes. It's like kind of weird because it's like, oh, like I know that guy, but it's like, do I really know that guy anymore? Since I haven't really, we haven't actively talked since we were like 22 or 23, but we still talk occasionally. Yeah. For like brief, like, hey man, how you doing? Like, what's going on, or this, that, or the other thing. You know,
that stream is something I wanted to talk about here because, like, you keep saying that like conservatives are fascists, and I think that there might actually be some truth to that. In like the sense that like you, and now I'm going to totally derail the conversation, but you know, embrace the
conversation has been nothing but derails. Go ahead.
I know. All right, so what I see with fascism is sort of like right-wing thought, but incoherent because it's trying to use left-wing language. So like when people only have left-wing language and are trying to get at the nature of reality, but they can't describe it accurately, so they just use left-wing language and it comes off completely incoherent. And then when it turns out that like terms are contradictory, they just decide to go ahead with the contradiction completely. Because they don't care.
You're right. Fascism's not known for its contradictions like National Socialism or, you know, any of the other like hallmarks of fascism where it's always contradictory and makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, but that's because of the thing with what I would say with general left-wing politics is that it's logical, but it's not really conducive to reality. So you always need like some kind of right-wing stuff that's behind it. And then, of course, you know, it's claimed that when these right-wing things happen, that it actually turns out that the regime is right-wing and like we're not fully left-wing. But that's because if the regime wasn't right-wing in those aspects, the whole thing would crumble. And so what fascism sees is that aspect to it, but doesn't know how to properly describe it. And so it's completely incoherent. It just does whatever it sees as fit. And that's a serious problem, as you could say.
What?
You did not understand what I said?
I zoned out for the last like few seconds of that. You want to?
All right. What I was saying is that left-wing regimes, generally speaking, they're logical, but they don't really map onto reality. I guess the way to describe it is...
Yeah, I'm familiar with these memes, but I don't know how does that parlay into fascists like saying dumb shit and being like incoherent all the time?
Because they're imbibed in left-wing thought, and they cannot describe anything outside of that like mode of analysis. So when they try to identify something that's real, they have a lot of difficulty doing it. So their terms become contradictory because it doesn't work within the logic system that they've been taught. Like this is one of the reasons why fascism is always around the corner in like democratic countries, is because like literally you're at risk of like caving into reality.
Well, no. It's not because you're easy to caving into reality. Because fascism is stupid and plays on like evolutionary pressures where we have an overreaction to fear responses. Fascism preys and exists due to humans having an evolutionary design overreaction to fear. If I tell you you're going to get raped, murdered, killed, and whatever, and the only way to do it is to elect a fascist strawman who's going to save you from like the liberal degeneracy, your instinct, due to evolutionary pressures, is like, oh, the thing that's going to kill me, I need to respond to that and respond to that now, and it overrides your ability to think critically. It's not that they're mapping onto reality. It's that they're exploiting these like human weaknesses that we try and use reason to like, you know, put under wraps, but then they use rhetoric and propaganda to like create these bullshit fucking fear narratives that override people's ability to think critically or reasonably. That's what's happening. It's not like mapping onto reality, or sorry, I don't mean to mock you, but mapping onto reality more accurately.
I think we can like give an example of where this wasn't the case. So remember the example I gave with the Supreme Court ruling on birth control before with you?
Yes.
Yeah, they literally said that there was 1 second.
So
I
mean, I'll
people
repeat
talking
it
to
if
me.
you want. So basically, the gist of his birth control thing is that the Supreme Court passed a rule on. Fuck, I don't remember what it was. But basically, like, I think it was on birth control and family. Oh, right. They passed a ruling on birth control and like women should have access to birth control because it's necessary to like family productivity. Like, but this can't be used to. We don't think this ruling can be used to justify like gay marriage or something like that. Which then like later it was cited as a precedent for legalizing gay marriage, if I remember correctly, is what he's getting at.
So that's to say that the conservative fear was true, like the so-called irrational fear actually ended up occurring.
No one said it was an irrational fear.
Yeah, but you're saying that they're like trying to get to the human like fear response, like saying, you know, they're going to rape and murder us, when in actuality the left wing position is, of course they're going to rape and murder us, but that's okay.
What are you talking about? What, rape and murder?
You were saying that the fascist position is that these people say that like that all these people are going to rape and murder, like what is it? What was the example you gave? Like
immigrant brown hordes are going to rape and murder us and steal our vacation homes.
Yeah, like it's some kind of hyperbolic thing, when in actuality, like
that's
the left wing will say
that's a literal thing. But okay,
like that. Yeah, that's just the fear. That's the fear mongering, right? And it's usually an exaggerated like claim. And then when something like similar but not exact happens, the left wing is like, yeah, I mean, of course this was going to happen, but that's not really the problem. Like we knew this was going to happen. It's just that that's okay.
Okay, so you could say like when we bring immigrants in, like we bring in, let's say 2 million people. Based on statistics, I know that some of those people will do the rapes, some will do the murders, some will break into houses, some will do that. But to act like there's going to be some like unrelenting wave and like of this happening where everyone's getting raped and murdered, you know, we get Sharia law and like everyone loses their vacation homes because immigrants are like fucking squatter rights in them, is ridiculous and clearly not true.
I mean, it's ridiculous
now,
and clearly not true, but I wish it was true.
If you tell me you wish it was true?
Yeah, because I like that. I want people that are gonna make this country better.
The fascist claim is clearly a lie.
No, I forget it. You
like,
get the joke I'm doing.
Because like the occasional rape or murder happens does not prove their point. Someone like Tucker Carlson would go out there and be like, "Oh, look, you see, there's this one immigrant who killed a cop and like raped a woman, and he was unrepentant in court. And you see, like they're a scourge in our society." Like that's what
that's the same thing that lefties do with like other groups.
Okay. It's establishing a trend versus using an anecdote to pretend there's a trend when there's not. So I don't know. Like you can, I mean, in that sense, it's just lying about general crime rates by using an anecdote and trying to extrapolate and act like this is the average person or this is a common occurrence. When in reality, it's an anomaly.
This gets into more complicated things. What you're saying is technically true, but then we're gonna have to get into like a few other.
Well, I'm saying it's literally true.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I said that what you're saying is technically true, but there's more behind it than just that.
I mean, a fascist being wrong or lying?
There's more than that, but it's like
could that be true? Like, sure, they used a reasonable basis to try and justify one thing that could clearly be used for the other thing. They're like, no, we don't like that other thing, and it's like, yeah, well, culture moves, and the same rational argument was used to justify the other clearly okay thing that people back in the day weren't okay with, but like, yeah.
But you don't see that like when these people say that all these like terrible things are going to happen in the future.
But this is
like in terms of social norms.
This is not an extreme thing or a terrible thing of gays being allowed to get married.
It's a pretty radical thing. It's never been done in like the history of the world. Like it was referenced in a Roman like comedy play. That's our historical record for it.
Okay. But so am I gonna delve into the history of like gay? So like gay marriage.
Oh, I know.
I'm
pretty well versed in this.
Okay, I'm sure you're very well versed in one version of that. I have no doubt.
No, I believe the standard official narrative, like you. Like I I used to watch a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so the right was free running about how this would like destroy marriage, destroy institutions, and they'd rape children and blah blah blah, and
and the left, like they might say that that's not going to happen, like, and then it ends up and that ends up happening, and then the position that then is, well, actually, there's not a problem with that, like you just said, like one obviously okay thing is
their kids who are gay married and adopt a kid and end up raping or sexually abusing them. Will that happen? I can guarantee.
In the future, I don't know, but I think
that
is like when you break down the norms to a certain extent, it might, like the.
What? Hold on. So arguing that will happen at least one time.
No, I'm not. No, what I'm saying is if the cultural trends continue as they are, they might actually get to that position.
Yeah, I mean, we've went like you're smart enough where the claims you make are so far out that like I'll never actually be able to prove you wrong because unlike these.
But I have examples. I gave you the Supreme Court ruling.
Okay. A thing that wasn't a big deal. Or sorry,
it's a major deal. What are you talking about?
Sorry, I shouldn't say that wasn't a big deal. It's a big deal in terms of like what the ruling enabled, but like there wasn't some like, oh, we're gonna enable birth control and then like, or we're gonna like legalize birth control for people and like whatever, and then like the whole world will collapse. It's like, okay.
No. So
but the crazy complaint would be like the whole world is going to collapse, while saying like, well, this can't be used as a basis for gay marriage. Is like, okay, like who gives a shit if you say that?
So I was in the Discord when Distributors was here, and I remember when he was trying to tell you that statistically what happened first was the family collapse, then the increase in crime.
Yeah, he's not really correct about that, but like I started looking into that. So what he didn't say was that specifically. He said that birth control preceded the family collapse, which preceded crime, which is a little more complicated. Because like the whole birth control revolution he's talking about isn't necessarily true because he's trying to say that it was normalized in like the 60s, 70s, and then you had the family collapse in like the 70s or whatever, and the crime wave throughout the 80s and 90s, and that's not exactly how that went down. It's a little more complicated, but like whatever, it's a simplistic narrative. But we can even look into like the advent and the accessibility of birth control and like that. Like I started looking into it, and it just didn't seem like he was correct about the widespread availability of birth control occurring in the mid 20th century. It seemed like it happened earlier than that. And maybe you'd have programs that made it easier to get it. Maybe you'd have like welfare states like under like, I don't know, the Great Society or something where maybe they made that more accessible. I'm positing that. I don't know if that's true. But birth control in like a pill or like having, or I don't know if it's in a pill necessarily, but the ability to control like your cycle, control when you're going to give birth or not was something that was available since like the 20s. So I didn't.
Yeah, but again, like not like common.
Investigating it, but it was not correct what he said. Just like multiple things he said in that conversation. I pinged him on something, and he's just like, "Oh, cool, thanks." But like, he tried going hard about how like the COVID's a flu, and I'm just like, this is such a nebulous point. But like, I guess I'll respond to it. Like, and we kind of moved past it, but like, COVID's not a flu; it's a completely different virus. But whatever, it's literally a coronavirus, hence its name, which is separate from the flu virus. Like, he said multiple things that were just like kind of stupid. Where he engaged in those like pseudo-libertarian takes, like I don't think he did in that conversation, but like on multiple other conversations, he like fucking went in on that a little bit. Where he's like, oh, we gotta like he unironically did like the oh, we can't let the carrier work the solution, oh, the mask, and like we're telling people what to do, and it's like, okay, dude, like whatever, man. What do you even do with people like that? I don't know.
And this is why, like it's like you then scream fascist at the top of the house, and it's like, well, we just want to be left alone, like literally there's just the grill pill.
So underneath like a libertarian, or sorry, not libertarian, like a lefty like socialist like thing that like I envision, and probably like Blitz just seems like he's somewhere in that same ballpark. You would be able to like be left alone to like some degree or another, like a very large degree.
Not really, no, because you would.
The only thing you wouldn't get to do is brainwash your fucking kids in perpetuity.
Yeah, then you basically the whole thing collapses.
Well, if your ideas can't exist on their own merit, that's a you problem. So.
Oh, they will exist on their own merit, but like you are destroying the continued like propagation of that community.
No, I'm not. I mean, the Amish literally just send out their kids for like Rumspringa, where they let them go experience the world, and many of them come back and continue to perpetuate the Amish community.
In that case, it's never that simple.
And you can just pump out like 10 fucking kids. Like, I'm not going to control like necessarily what you can teach in like your fucking household. I'm going to tell you can't beat your fucking kids and whatever. But if you want to teach them, like tell them like read the Bible or whatever. Oh, he disappeared. Alright, well, it's getting boring. I'm going to end the stream because it's already at many, many hours. Let's do the outro.
Sorry, I had to just